Hi everybody, welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 85, question mark? Yes? Yes.
Yeah.
Can confirm. Good for us, 85 episodes. I am your host. My co-host and teenage son Jackson is across the tiny table from me. How was your morning, sir?
Nice.
You had the morning of empty house again, much like... It's going to sound a lot like episode 84 banter because I was again up early on a Saturday, went to basketball, 2 games for my younger son, won both today, which was good. He played well again. He is the point guard on this team, playing really well. Team won both, so that's good because it's now teams in his division that he'll probably see in playoffs. And you had the house to yourself, so I imagine you did what? Video games? Went out for lunch?
Actually, not much, so I'll do that
Really?
later. Yeah, because
Interesting.
I had stuff to do.
Wow, good for you. And then you played some video games, and your excitement, no spoilers, but last night you did what? Tell me what you did.
I watched The Batman. The Batman.
The Batman. Not a Batman, but it's definite article, The Batman.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
And good, bad, without spoiling.
It was pretty great, yeah.
Pretty great.
And I don't really deal with DC.
You don't deal with DC, that is
really.
Can confirm. And you were still cool with it. That's good.
No, it was really good, yeah.
I'm glad that you're not one of those, like, I only like Marvel and I will not acknowledge
Riddler
anything
was
is good.
really nice. The psychotic villains are always pretty
Your
fun.
favorite, yes. Even
like
when we
Green
watched
Goblin.
even when we watched the original Batman from 89,
Joker was pretty nice.
Yeah, Joker's cool.
Or I love Green Goblin.
Yeah, I agree.
Defoe.
It's just like wrestling, man. The heels are always more interesting, I find, right? They're just...
Well, I mean, like, some villains are, like, I don't know, there's good villains in different ways, but I feel like the psychotic ones are, like, just like the...
Do I have anything to worry about? You're modeling yourself after psychotic
just
characters.
Like the crazy ones, yeah. But the Riddler was really cool.
Good.
So yeah, and just based on the trailers, I wasn't too high on him, but I think Pattinson did a good job for Batman.
Good. I don't even know who that is.
The guy who plays Batman.
But I know, is he an actor that people know of? Is he famous?
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know famous people very much.
You should watch it.
Right. I might actually. Isn't it super long though? That's one of my problems. I thought it was like close to 3 hours or something. It
may or may not have been 3 hours.
Right, and that's a little more than, unless it's a Quentin Tarantino.
I didn't really even notice.
Unless it's Tarantino, that's longer than unless I don't know. I'd check it out if you want.
I didn't really notice, to be honest. But,
yeah.
I didn't know. Like, usually I'd know, but beforehand, but I didn't know.
And then the fun story was that your friend got attacked by a mouse at school yesterday.
Yeah,
that was
pretty funny.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He was doing a favor. I guess a mouse came into the gym, right? Which is interesting, but he just was willing to scoop it up with his hand and try and send it outside. And the mouse apparently bit him pretty hard, right? Like he's on, I think, antibiotics for it and everything. This mouse viciously attacked him.
Vicious assault.
And I'd only heard the story and I didn't know it was actually your buddy that it happened to. So as I was driving you guys home from the movies, I learned that it was him. So good for him getting attacked by a mouse. He's brave person, right? What else is new? I don't know. It's your mother's birthday today. So you guys got her a couple plants. That was nice. I got her some Lululemon pants and a ring so far, and then a couple other things that are still coming that I won't spoil in case she listens to this. I don't think she does, but the couple gifts that are still coming, delayed by whatever, who knows. Me not ordering early enough, probably. I shouldn't. I want to blame the companies or the delivery, but I probably should have just ordered earlier if I wanted it here on time. But anyways, anything else new in your life? New and exciting? Another week of school gone?
Yeah.
Done and done. I can't think of anything exciting that happened to me.
No.
I got cleared to go back to full-time work. My issue with my back/leg has improved a lot. Still not perfect, but good enough that I have been cleared to return to my full duties at work, which is good because I prefer to work than sitting around at home. So that is good news for me. I'll be back after when we have our spring break for our American friends. I'm back to work. But anyways,
spring break.
I feel like this is going to be a lengthy episode because I watched a lot of wrestling and you actually have a fairly substantial figuring it out at the end, right?
We're previewing tomorrow's
and we're going to preview, which has 11 matches, I think, is what I heard. So yeah, we're going to get into a lot of the week's wrestling, and I figure we should probably start doing that as soon as possible, which I would think would be right now as we start to talk about some news and rumors. All right, so we'll take a look at some ratings here, and this week's episode of NXT 2.0, which was pretty rough again, but anyways, we'll get to that. It drew 551,000 viewers, down almost 10%, 9.96, earned a 0.13 in the key demographic, up 8 1/3% technically, I guess, which tied with the January 13th, 2021 episode as the least watched episode on the USA Network. So obviously not great numbers there. But that was the week the show switched to no fans in the crowd, right? So there was sort of a reason for that low number before, because it was tough to watch, even tougher to watch with no fans. And it was actually mostly a clip show. They didn't even have, I think it was very little new content on it, right? But the demo number, which they actually care more about, stayed pretty solid, I guess. So that's the plus side for NXT. And then AEW Dynamite, it was the go home edition before Revolution, which is tomorrow night, right? We're recording this on Saturday. It drew 966,000 viewers, so down a little bit, just 4.35%. Earned a 0.35 in the demo, which is also down 12.5%, so that's not great, but it is the third lowest audience of the year, but still really close to that $1 million mark, so nothing too terrible, I don't think. What do you have for us news-wise today, sir?
So for some reason it was the week of bizarre mid-card title changes.
Oh yeah, you were filling me in on this because I was
I
was aware of one, but not the second one.
Balor managed to beat Priest for the U.S. title,
right?
And then Priest turned heel.
Right, so of course he did.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But, so I mean, cool for Balor, I guess. And even more surprising is 2 weeks after Zayn beat Nakamura for that Intercontinental title, he dropped it to Ricochet.
That is surprising.
Of course, I believe it was a distraction roll-up, thanks to Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, of course it was.
And rolling off of that,
how could he win clean?
Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville at Mania, and also Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory.
Buddy, this is the closest I've ever been to being like, I don't really care if I watch WrestleMania. Like, I don't know.
What? You don't want to see Logan Paul wrestle the Mysterios?
What match is a draw so far? Is there anything booked that's like interesting? I haven't heard anything.
Belair Lynch?
I guess that could be good, maybe. I guess.
That's all I got.
Out of 2 days and 20 matches or whatever it'll be, right? We've got one that sounds okay.
I'm saying the unification match, but I really have no desire
I'm not super interested in that.
Reigns,
I should be, probably, but I'm not.
No.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's nothing fresh, that's for sure.
And it's not like the unification will be that, like, either one champ wrestles on both shows, which Lesnar already does.
Right.
So, and it's not super new for Roman, or they just replace the Universal title with something else.
And I heard somewhere that the unification is not legit. Like, it won't be one belt for long or at all, or there'll be some sort of loophole where it's back to 2 belts.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's reliable
like,
or
they're gonna bring in another title, which I find is odd because it will have not even been like 6 years with the Universal title, like not like just under 6 years, like 5.5 probably.
And they seem to go through these ways where they want a ton of belts and then they don't, right? And they get rid of what the European title was gone, the Intercontinental title is gone.
The Cruiserweight title was like lasted like under 6 years as well.
Right.
I'm trying to think, like,
they can't make up their mind, basically. I guess.
I'm surprised 24/7 title still exists.
Of course, that is prestigious. How dare you suggest that it not exist?
No, totally.
That's the belt everybody wants.
That's my bad.
What do I have on a media call? Tony Khan. So this is out of his mouth, basically. Addressed several topics I thought were interesting. One, they are looking to have a streaming service. He didn't go into details about it, but they definitely would like one at some point. This is
also like with him having had an announcement on Dynamite.
Exactly. He's got a big library that they can now use as well, probably, right? One detail I thought was interesting, when he signed Adam Cole, they were on the phone together for 4 hours and 15 minutes before he signed.
Really?
So a very lengthy phone call. He said he likes Jeff Hardy a lot.
No.
But he's technically, he said, still under contract to another company. Is that true?
I know he got released. I don't know if I don't know if his no compete's still on.
So that might be what he's referring to. He said he'd love to have Hardy, but doesn't think. But he said don't consider it a foregone conclusion. So that, I mean, maybe that's just him offering a bit of a red herring, misleading, right?
I don't.
But I hope.
Want him
I don't either. I'm with you. Here is my favorite nugget from this. When Kenny Omega comes back, they will more than likely do a trios title. So
Why when Omega comes back?
I think they want him to sort of. The only thing that makes sense is they want him to be the first trios champion, right? With whoever. I don't know who it would be. Possibly at this point.
Who else?
I don't know. He could come back doing something completely different, right? It's Kenny Omega. Who knows? And he's gone long enough that they could.
I wouldn't mind babyface Omega again.
Repackage him as something. But it sounds like, which I think they need, a trios title sounds cool.
I think they could do it way before Omega comes back.
And but they're not. It doesn't sound like they're going to. The final nugget was that he likes Cesaro/Claudio Castagnoli a lot and is open to him joining AEW, but sort of non-committal about it. But I thought those were some interesting nuggets from his call. Yeah. What you got?
I was kind of surprised and also confused. So that there was something with that triangle in House of Black on Rampage,
Yes.
and who to assist that triangle? Not Phoenix. No, Eric Redbeard.
What?
Yep.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
Why?
I have no idea.
How did I not hear this?
I
Sorry,
do not
on
know.
Rampage?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I do not know why. I do not know.
He's a really big guy, and I don't think he's awful, but
I don't mind if it's another appearance like the Brody Lee tribute.
True.
If as long as they keep it kind of brief, I don't really care. It's still weird, but
yeah, and the large plotting guys don't really fit into AEW style for me.
Yeah.
And I don't think he can keep up. No offense to him, but I mean, anyways. Nia Jax in the news for me claims that she gets calls daily from quote unquote miserable WWE talent. So
that makes sense.
I think anything is possible here, right? That could be true. It could not be true and she's bitter, or it could be the same person calling her daily, you know what I mean, and complaining.
Yeah, no, so either way it does
nothing would surprise me. Whether it's true, not true, or just one person repeatedly calling her. I'm sure there are miserable talent, and some may still be in contact with her. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think anything there
could be
adds
true.
up.
Right.
Or so, anything and everything.
File that under the rumors category, I guess, more so than news, maybe.
So the ladder match field is set. Who got the last spot? Of course, not Ethan Page.
No.
It was Christian Cage
on
Rampage.
So it's only 5 in it. Remind me of who it is again. 6.
We'll
preview this later.
Wardlow, Keith Lee, Starks, Orange Cassidy, Christian Cage.
Right.
Is that not kind of just a meh field? Other than Keith Lee and...
A little bit. I won't get into my predictions yet, but yes, it seems like it's
either Keith Lee or Wardlow.
Skewed in one direction. Yeah, I would think so, right? It sounds like that's the way it's going.
That was my thought in the predictions. Like, I'm not going to say who I picked, but I'm saying it's one of those two.
I think so. I would agree with you. It'd be hard to pick anyone
else. Actually, no,
I'm
sorry. It's definitely Christian Cage.
Yeah.
And then we can have their Golden Prophecy, not for Undisputed Era, no, but for Jurassic Express their father.
They haven't done much with Christian. He's now just like Uncle Christian with a tag team, right? Which I'm okay with. I don't need to see him that much.
He's a dork. I mean, he shouldn't be with Jurassic Express anyways, but as long as they're gonna keep him
He's
away.
certainly not helping their presentation, right? They've been pretty weak champions, in my opinion. He's not adding anything.
Again, furthers, like, I like them, but
Me too.
It furthers my opinion that they were not supposed to be champions.
I think you might be right. You might be onto something there.
I think, like, that Phoenix injury was disgusting, so they had to do something.
It was definitely disgusting. There was no doubt he was going to be out for a while.
Yeah, that was not something I'd want to see.
No.
Again.
WWE has no plans for Alexa Bliss before WrestleMania. And
that's excellent.
She's tweeted something sort of cryptically kind of annoyed or mystified or something by this. She indicated on Twitter she doesn't know why she's not being used. And it's kind of odd because she made her in-ring return right at Elimination Chamber, which wasn't long ago. And now it's like we've got, 2 days with, as I said, probably 20 matches and plus pre-show, and we have nothing for you.
Yeah,
which is weird.
I mean, I don't really care because I'm
not a huge fan,
but like it is odd for sure.
Yeah, she's got nothing going on. But
yeah,
anyways.
no, that's kind of, and I feel like she's someone they would like whether she's doing that.
I thought so too.
Crummy gimmick or not, I think I at least thought they liked her
because her character work is good, and she was given a terrible character, and she really like did the most she could with it. Right? It's not like she didn't try hard. They gave her garbage that they were expecting her to turn into gold, and that's not easy. But I don't think she's super strong in the ring to this day still, but she does pretty decent character work, whereas some people can't do that. But anyways, whatever. I don't care.
I think that gimmick was bad, but she tried.
Right. I don't need another match added, so whatever.
And finally we kind of already mentioned it, but okay, so I had 2 more, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
The one we kind of talked about was, I don't know if we talked about it last week, because I think it was confirmed last Friday.
I think we didn't, but I'm not sure.
That Lesnar and Reigns is a unification match.
Yeah.
Fraud or not.
Right. Fraud or not, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard it's going to be not. Like, it is fraudulent, but.
To be fair, last unification match, they had one title for 2 years.
Right. I don't think it'll be that long.
No, and then the other unification match, which would have been in 2001, they had one title for like just under a year.
Right.
So
I'm guessing I'm gonna say under both of
I
those.
find it actually the first unification match funnier because right they unified the WWE title and the WCW title, and then less than a year later they essentially brought back the WCW title under a different name.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
I
funnier.
just feel like that each network's gonna want a title, right? Like I don't know how they'll feel about sharing one back and forth. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like
no, that which is begs the question: why do this match in the first place?
I just think because they don't know what else to do for Mania, and they need some big ticket item.
The Rollins thing fell into their laps.
They don't think Rollins is top tier. They don't think that he moves the needle. And maybe they're right. I don't know. I like Rollins in the ring, but
whether they think that or not, they surely should know that the Shield is still money and that people
probably
like anything when they're involved together. Like, I mean,
but I also don't think they want to do Shield stuff because that means you have to talk about Moxley or acknowledge his existence,
which
and
they already did. But they don't even have to either. They could totally ignore that too. But like, again, that would have been perfect, and they're just not smart.
They just don't think he's a top of the card guy on their main show. I think they're just like if it's not Lesnar or Cena or Reigns, or if that guy Stone Cold wanted to come back, right? Other than that, or The Rock, they're like, that's it. Those are our options, and it's crazy because only one of those is an active person. I guess Lesnar is two right now as well. He seems to be pretty consistently
there. He is
there,
now, but like I don't even know if like that. I don't know how much I'm considering that, you know.
Yeah. Moving on, we can confirm it'll come up when I talk about NXT, but Amari Miller has confirmed that she suffered a concussion on Tuesday's NXT 2.0 in a match of the year contender, right? With Lash can't say that with a straight face. With Lash Legend. She was stretchered out following the match. We watched it, right? And it was basically Lash's finisher, which is what is it, like a fireman's carry into a slam or something?
It was a fireman's carry something.
And she landed hard, and Lash landed right on top of her, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but Lash Legend's not ready to be on TV. She should be training extensively before she comes on TV.
Yeah, no, it's not even like she should just stick to her segment, because that sucks too.
Right. Meltzer noted that Amari Miller at the time had lost feeling in her arms and legs, so the fact that it's just a concussion is probably not that's not
probably lucky.
That is something that is technically a brain injury, but still it looked a bit scarier than that even. So yeah, so hopefully she recovers quickly and that Lash Legend gets off of TV and stops hurting people, because she's not ready for this, man.
Yeah. It was. I thought she would like kick her in the head or something, but
no, it was just like you could see like she landed hard off of that slam, and then Lash was right on top of her too for it, which I'm not sure she was supposed to shoot, like splash her in the process, right? So yeah. Anyways, I only have one more. What about you?
Perhaps the biggest news of the week is very surprising. Tony Khan's announcement turned out to be him buying ROH.
Right. So
which if I was going to guess, I would have said streaming service, but...
Right, and what other people were... Yeah, because wasn't the bit hot rumor like, oh, it's an HBO something affiliated with them?
Yeah, something like that, or like there's a lot of stuff floating around.
So now I'm hearing rumors that Cody is maybe not going to WWE, although I think I don't know anymore.
I don't think he is.
And that he may be handed the reins of Ring of Honor, right? It's your company, go run it, sort of thing.
I think that would be interesting, or Cody's the top dog, because...
And I saw a thing sort of related that Beer City Brawler,
or so that's Beer City Bruiser,
whatever it is, he confirmed that there are no contracts, right? Like nobody has.
Yeah, so it's literally just buying like what it would be like the content library and like
the intellectual property, like the name and the right to all their pay-per-view names and stuff, probably.
Right.
So no talent, even though there is some matches already booked for the pay-per-view in April, right? Like Gresham's on it. A few other people are on it. So I don't know if it's going to continue to be a super indie. Again, my dream would be that it's becomes developmental for AEW with storylines.
I feel like ROH is more of like, I feel like that's also demeaning to ROH. Like I don't know,
but like, guess what? A new guy owns it, so he can do whatever the heck he wants with it. Yeah. Depends how much he seems like a guy that's going to try and respect the history of it, right? But who knows? Mm-hmm. My final story also surprised me is that WWE has terminated its partnership with Russian broadcaster Match and shut down the WWE network in Russia effective immediately.
Doesn't that kind of screw over the people who didn't do anything?
I mean, but it's everybody just trying to say, hey, Russia, we're going to stop doing any... Right. And it does make the innocent people of Russia who have nothing to do with this conflict sort of suffer. But if that's what we people need to do, right, is sort of be like, we're gonna sort of isolate your country because you're invading other countries aggressively. I just couldn't ever fathom Vince McMahon giving up any sort of revenue stream, right? A guy that's willing to go to Saudi Arabia as much as possible and make ridiculous amounts of money is suddenly pulling out of Russia. So I guess
maybe it either shows that he's a decent human or that he likes his public image.
Or he figured out that it's going to be more harm than good to stay there, right? Like whatever the damage is not worth the money that he's going to make. I would assume it's more of that.
Like if there was like a lot of heat on Saudi Arabia.
And people start canceling subscriptions because they don't like that WWE's not, because Coca-Cola and McDonald's are taking some heat because they're not pulling out of Russia at all. So Vince may not want to deal with the backlash, because I don't believe that man does anything out of the goodness of his heart, right? Like that's just
I have a tough time
out of character. Yeah. Well, that does it for me for news. You as well?
Me too.
All right, so let's move into our first in-depth review, taking a look at this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
And so we kick off the show with Tony Khan's announcement, which we just talked about, so that's kind of interesting.
He's an awkward fellow, eh? Like,
yeah. I'm not.
And I don't even
like
think it's.
bad,
I don't think it's bad necessarily,
like,
but he was super excited, which is cool. But he's just a little bit awkward, I find, and nothing wrong with that.
Not like that he was natural, but it felt very natural. Like it was actually just him.
Yes, that it's him out there, and he's excited to make an announcement, and he's not playing a character. It's just him, and he's a bit of an awkward fellow. Public speaking, right, is not the easiest thing ever. So, that was my sort of take. He's just a little bit awkward.
Yeah, he said when they started AEW 3 years ago, it was out of the parking lot. I think it was right, because they had like that thingy in Daly's place. I remember Pac and Hangman standing off and stuff like that. I remember Pac had like a Dragon Gate belt with him or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Because that was before he was in like AEW, so we hadn't really seen him.
Right.
He said about 17 years before that, another wrestling company started. Ring of Honor. And he refers to it as ROH, which I like. I know like that's like the abbreviation that I feel like a lot of fans would call it, but I feel like when it's mostly referred to like from people in pro wrestling, like on TV or whatever, it's always Ring of Honor. It's more formal. I don't know. I just thought it was.
I think they use Ring of Honor more themselves. Yeah, like the actual company.
That's what I mean. Like I feel like they go Ring of Honor more than like
feels
actual
like
people would. He spoke about how he's been a fan of Ring of Honor, and he said now he's the owner of Ring of Honor.
Ooh. So I think that's cool. I mean, we talked about it in the news, but I think that's cool.
He was talking about like the first main event of a Ring of Honor show or whatever, or something about how they wanted to wrestle or whatever, and so basically just a way to announce the opening match is Bryan Danielson versus Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a slick little tie-in, right? Like a match that never got to happen, that everybody kind of wanted to happen, and they both went through ROH, and it is kind of like a quote-unquote dream match. So I thought that was a smart way to sort of introduce the match and get Daniels back on TV for this one. So yeah, I kind of like that.
They did mention it's been like 7 months, that's a while.
For Daniels being gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been a while.
And he was on Impact for a bit.
Yeah, he was on Impact for a bit. You're right.
And
he's 51 or something. I looked it up.
Kaz was elite hunting.
He's over 50. So think of that going into this match. Man is 50 something. Crazy.
I thought he would be older. No, I thought he'd be.
That sounds about right. Because I know he's like a bit older than AJ, because they're like good buddies. But I know AJ's not quite.
How old is AJ?
AJ is probably around my age, I'm guessing. So he's super young, like in his prime. Right.
That is definitely what I was going to say. So out of the things I consider coming, I did not think he'd be buying ROH. I think it's kind of cool, but it's pretty crazy. I'm not sure what this means with Ring of Honor not having any contracted talent and whatnot. I'm interested to see if the Khans can sustain two companies or how involved in ROH he is. Like, I know obviously they could probably fund it, like they could handle that, but
for sure,
but like
more
I
money
think,
than
like,
McMahon.
How it works, like
and that's why
funding two companies, it's kind of interesting.
And that's why it makes so much sense if he really trusts Cody, right? To be like, it's yours. Like we've all provide the money, and you run the show, right? Like you're.
I wonder how Cody would be.
You've got the pencil, as they say.
I wonder how Cody he would be.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? That's the only thing.
I just don't know if he could not make himself
exactly
right, like the center of. And I'm not looking for an authority figure that is like inserted itself into every main storyline, right?
Exactly.
Which is what I
or
fear.
Like he's just like not even like that he's an authority figure, but he just is like a main guy.
AJ Styles was born in the same year as I was.
Oh, nice. So
I am a few months older than he.
He's a senior citizen.
Right, and he does some very athletic things that I do not somehow.
That is true.
Weird.
So you are... Wait, are you trying to tell me you are inferior to AJ Styles?
Maybe slightly.
Wow, I did not see that one coming.
Oh my god, I just about had a heart attack there. I just noticed the low battery on the computer, and I got it plugged in time.
Close one.
Because, listeners, we have had a couple podcasts in the past when I was new where we lost hours and had to re-record, right? So we're plugged in. We're good to go. Oh my god, I got nervous there for a second.
And Tony Khan sounds pretty awkward on the mic, but it was fine because it was just like the announcement and the opener.
I liked it.
I'm hoping that he'll resign with ROH because then we're this close to getting All Elite Taylor Rust.
Oh my god, give up the dream, man.
I will never give that up.
I appreciate that. You're persistent and you never know. And as we know, people listen to this podcast that are important.
As we will discuss later.
Ringside, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know.
People.
I won't spoil it.
And AEW, because there was something that they did. I don't remember what it was, but they did.
So they're obviously listening to us.
There was something that they did. It was the tag title match.
Imagine we only have a few hundred followers, but one of them's AEW, probably.
Yeah, no.
Why not?
Just like a really important person.
Yeah.
Tony Khan, maybe.
Could be.
You never know. There's no way to know.
Yep, but I like the start of the show. Like, clearly he wanted to get the announcement out of the way right away. I thought he did a good job.
I don't even remember them advertising this. It's the funny part.
It's kind of interesting, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I don't even remember them like advertising it.
I just remember them saying he had a major announcement.
I remember them saying that before,
and people
but
his major announcements sometimes aren't major or whatever, right?
I remember like they did that, and then it was that was for the Keith Lee thing.
Yes.
So I don't remember them advertising it like specifically this week. So I don't.
I do, but I don't know if it was on TV or through other internet channels. I don't know.
No clue.
But anyways, it happened regardless.
And so we go right into Bryan Danielson versus Christopher Daniels. That's cool.
Daniels and Danielson, great.
Yes.
Super easy to talk about, but go ahead.
Technical opener, I'd say.
Yep.
Between two veterans, one who's quite old.
Yes, he is.
There's like a lot of holds and counters in the early going. There's a single leg dropkick by Daniels after a hammerlock pin from Bryan, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called like an Arabian moonsault by Daniels for this, where it's like he like springboards up, but then he like sits off the ropes and then flips off.
Yeah, that's
It's like Sabu.
Sabu.
Yeah. That's why that's how that name came to me. There's a bow and arrow stretch by Bryan until a rope break. Bryan counters the Angel's Wings, which is essentially fairy tale ending.
It is, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks cool when he does it. He usually adds a bit of a spin to it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Bryan hits a German suplex, pins and counters back and forth, and then the finish comes pretty nice when he counters the BME into a triangle choke. And
I love that counter.
Mm-hmm.
I like the finish.
It is easy because I just automatically refer to him as Bryan, so
right.
It works.
It does work.
So Danielson talks about them main eventing the first ROH show, or not, or almost main eventing. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
I thought they did I don't know.
No, I think it didn't happen. Is why they were bringing it here. Anyways, it's not a major
It says they began and ended with a handshake. He holds the hand of a fallen Daniels and says, "Let's hear for Daniels." And says he's not in ROH anymore. It's time to kick someone's head in, and so he does the arm trap kicks to Daniels, which I thought was kind of funny.
I love not even letting the guy get up, just go over and sarcastically shake his hand as he's still suffering on the mat. Right? I kind of enjoyed that. Mox
comes out. Mox says you can see Danielson is better than ever. He says you can see Danielson is more violent than ever, but he has it wrong, and there are two paths you can take. He says Danielson thinks Mox will get his head kicked in and fade into oblivion. He says he walks his own path, and he will walk through Bryan. He says at the end of this path, he beats Danielson in the story that Jon Moxley is just starting. He'll write the first chapter on Sunday. It'll be written in blood. He asks Bryan if Bryan wants to prove him wrong and tells Bryan to take a shot, and Danielson acts like he'll fight and leaves the ring. So I'm not sure if they're still going to team or...
Right, and I like that we don't quite know that, right? That there's still a possibility that they will join forces. I don't know. But I thought this match was a smart tie-in to the Ring of Honor announcement, as I said. And I thought this was a good opening match, right? Daniels isn't what he was in his prime, but the man's 51 years old. And he can still work a strong match. And with Danielson in there with him, right, he can get everything out of his opponent. So if you have a chance of looking good, you're going to look good against Bryan Danielson at this point. And I thought Daniels did look good. But in the end, right, you've got Danielson with just too many counters. He just knows too many counters to things. And I loved the counter of the Daniel's finisher into what was it, a triangle for the submission. So I thought that was very cool. The aftermath was pretty standard, right? But Mox does a good job always in promos. It was that standard final face-to-face before a match, and I thought they both did a good job, and I'm very excited for that match. Like, there'll be nothing on WrestleMania that will be as interesting to me as this match will be, right? Like,
for sure.
This to me is main event material, but obviously it won't be because there's other championships involved and things. But this match could be a show stealer, I think, right? So I'm really looking forward to it, and I thought this opening match was good. What about you?
Yeah, I think it was. I did some weird misspell here. It was it says Thea Solid TCTHE opener.
Nice.
I don't know what that means.
I've solid like some kind of opener.
Thea
Solid
technical
opener?
I have no idea. I think it was a solid opener. We'll go with that. I liked it a decent amount. Not as much as some of their openers, but I think it was pretty good. I liked that it kind of came off of that opening bit. I think Dance looked good in his return after a long while. And working Danielson definitely helps him. I like Danielson's a little bit after. Mox had a nice promo as well.
For sure.
Overall, pretty solid start, I would say.
Me too.
Good for what it was.
Yep.
Speaking of good, psych. Sting says he was told if anyone gets involved on Friday, they're getting suspended or something. And Darby says he doesn't need anyone's help to win the TNT title. Basically, there's a 3-way last night. That's, a triple threat. It was Andrade, Darby, and Samuel.
So Sammy retained, I assume. I haven't watched
it, but yeah.
I would assume so. I think I would have noticed or heard something otherwise.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought this was like a pretty generic promo, basically reminding us of the match on Rampage and the pay-per-view matches kind of thrown in, and that was the main point of this. Darby Allin isn't the best promo, but I think he's fine at this point, right? So
better than Sting.
I just thought it was there. They talked about matches upcoming to remind us, and that was about it.
Yeah, I didn't love Sting as always. I thought the whole, when Darby was saying that line about stealing the show was one of the lamest sounding things Darby has ever said.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem fitting for him. I don't know if it's
he shouldn't care, right? I feel like his character doesn't care about that.
I think it's like every time we go, we steal a show or something. I'm like, that's kind of odd for you to say.
I think so. That's a little out of character for what we know about him, right?
I was kind of...
The Darby Allin I think of wouldn't care about that.
The Darby Allin I think of just has people's
he just wants to go take massive risks and do crazy stuff. It's not because he wants to steal the show, it's because that's how he is, right? He's a daredevil basically.
The Darby Allin I know wears paper masks with people's faces on them.
That too, and talks less. Exactly.
Not
that he's terrible, but
no,
I like
Darby
the
Allin
silent
I know
Darby.
Wouldn't even get to the point where he says that line.
Right.
Next we get the Tag Team Casino Royale Winners Advance Revolution. They're not doing this in the suit format. They're doing this like a Royal Rumble, which is interesting. It does allow us to see what a tag team Royal Rumble would look like.
And the weird thing is the vast majority of these teams we saw in a Battle Royal last week, right?
Yeah, but I'm okay with that. At least they did kind of mix in some new ones.
Bear Country got their shot, everybody.
Bear County,
so obviously we know who won. I just spoiled who won by saying they were even in it.
Yeah, you probably should have saved that because we didn't know, so you could have saved that surprise.
Long story short, Bear County eliminated everyone in one.
Yeah, they set the all-time high record for eliminations.
They were in first, and everyone that came in, they just immediately threw them out.
Exactly.
And then it was over.
They even forced other teams.
Brock Lesnar did.
And
killed everyone.
And they even forced other teams to enter who weren't supposed to enter and eliminated them too,
right.
just to be more dominant.
All Bear County all the time.
And then they mauled some more people because they're bears.
They are.
Exactly.
What really happened, though?
We start off with FTR and Top Flight.
Top Flight, super fun sequence to start, right?
Yeah,
Darius welcome back, Darius, and they flew
it was
around.
Really nice. There's some tag offers by Top Flight, then the Acclaimed enter. I think it's funny they're still fighting as Caster's doing his rap and whatnot.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of nice. There's a strike combo by Bowens on Darius. Next we get 5 and 10 of the Dark Order. There's back by drop by 10 to...
5 wrestled in his hat for quite a while,
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah.
First little bit. Back by drop by 10 to Dante, followed by a top rope shotgun dropkick from 5. Butcher and Blade enter next. FTR eliminate 5. Varsity Blondes enter next. And then we get the biggest entry of all time in the history of anything. Barry County entered during the commercial break.
How dare they?
Yeah. And actually, how dare they? Proud and Powerful also entered during the commercial break. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you? Do not think, oh, wait, no, never mind. After the commercial break, Proud and Powerful toss out Bear County. So
what? You sure you got that right?
I'm pretty sure I saw that. I could have messed up. I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Wow. Good for Santana Ortiz. They were pretty over. The crowd likes them.
Yeah.
Which I agree with.
Which sucks why they got tossed out then, right?
Yes, that's right.
You were talking about Bear County, right?
Yeah, of course. Obviously. When am I not talking about Bear County?
Exactly.
Just assume if I'm talking, it's about Bear County.
Right, yeah. Even if you're not talking about Bear County, you're still talking about Bear County. Top Flight toss out Max Caster. So that's kind of sad. Best Friends, which is Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, as he will always be referred to. They entered...
He is Trent Beretta now.
Yeah.
You're allowed to call him that.
I have to call him that now. They made sure I know that he is now Trent Beretta, so I am legally obligated to always call him Trent Beretta.
Right.
They hit their classic eat defeat half and half suplex combo to Dante Martin.
Always looks good.
I like that, yeah.
Me too.
Bowens tosses out Griff Garrison. Apparently Pillman was also eliminated at some point, and I missed that.
Me too.
Loser. Grayson and Uno, the Dark Order, enter next. 10 eliminates Blade with a pump kick. 3-on-1 strike flurry by Dark Order to Butcher, and then they eliminate Butcher, who I noticed has a beard and not a mustache.
And he is lean now too.
Smash contraption to Bowens, smash contraption to Grayson. The Young Bucks enter, and FTR are standing in the ring awaiting their entry. The Wingmen enter during the commercial break. Hold the phone.
I thought Avalon was gone.
I thought so too.
Because I was like,
confused.
Who's the other guy there, right? And you're like, oh, it's Peter Avalon.
JD Drake, I guess,
but definitely wasn't.
No,
they're not similar in appearance at all. But I mean, maybe JD Drake got himself in wicked shape.
No, I mean, like it could have been like instead of Avalon. Yeah. And then the big hits just keep on coming because next up, boys, is Gun Club.
Yes.
Hell yeah. They get distracted by the crowd. The Ass Boys chant, so Austin takes a smash contraption and Colton gets a double super kick, and then they get eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
So
they got all they needed in there, I think.
I think they need nothing, but
right, which they almost got.
And I will, if I've said it once, I'll say it again. The big hits keep on coming as we get Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Brock got to hit an AA spinebuster to somebody.
Oh my god, Brock Anderson looks so boring.
He is beyond generic.
He doesn't even
because Arn had some sort of charisma to him.
Brock has done nothing.
And Brock does not so far. It's skipped a generation, it looks
Bowens
like.
pulls a Ricky Starks and misses Baten's mask to eliminate him. Ortiz eliminates Chuck Taylor. The Wingmen both get tossed out. Stu, Grayson gets eliminated. Didn't catch who. 2.0 enter last. Another big entry.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks eliminate Brock Anderson. Oh no. And then Lee Johnson. Bigger oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Top Flight eliminate Bowens. Uno and Trent Beretta battle on the apron, and Danhausen appears to distract Uno, and Trent Beretta eliminates him. Pound and Powerful and 2.0 battle on the apron now. Parker gets eliminated. Matt Lee soon follows suit. 2.0 then help FTR take out Santana Ortiz.
And the crowd was not happy when Santana Ortiz got eliminated. There was some boos, right?
Be not happy with them again in a moment.
Yeah.
Matt Jackson takes out Trent Beretta. Poor Trent Beretta. So contrary to last week's Battle Royal, we have 6 men left once again. This time, 3 full teams in the Bucks, FTR, and Top Flight. So it's a little interesting. I like that they kind of went the opposite route.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dante eliminates Cash, but he takes himself out too, like a big dum-dum. Redragon distract Dax, so the Bucks eliminate him, and then he takes a total elimination on the outside. The Bucks and Darius Martin are the finals. Nick gets eliminated. Why does Nick keep getting tossed out first?
Irony, I guess. It's not what you'd expect. I don't know.
But he's the better one.
That's what I mean. You don't expect that.
I guess.
And then you're like, if he's going out, maybe Matt is too. I don't know.
No,
I'm grasping at straws
sucks.
here. I'm just coming up with something.
Nick gets eliminated and the Matt barely avoids it. They both end up in the apron, trade shots, low blow, and a super kick by Matt for the win. So woohoo! I get the match I wanted.
You got what you wanted. You called it early on. Do you know
did.
wrestling or what?
I think I do.
You do. I think you
so.
might as well. I don't know. Like this was, again, things get crowded at some point, right? And there's a bit of a lull.
I think some parts of it got dull, but I think it was still like generally a good battle royal. I think I liked last week's more, but I think generally they did a good job again.
It started out really hot with Top Flight. I mean, we got a bunch of smash contraptions, which I always enjoy.
It was good, but they kind of have to go the opposite route. Whereas, like, I feel like in the other one, you start crowded and then you can kind of descend into more wrestling. This one, you can kind of start wrestling and then you kind of get crowded and then you go back down.
You can weed them out. Yeah. Nothing super memorable, I thought, which was disappointing because even like for us, a personal favorite of ours is Stu Grayson. He usually does something ridiculous, right, or a couple things. So there was no like super amazing spot to make this really memorable, but
sucks that Silver and Reynolds couldn't be in it, but they are involved in the main event.
Right? So I mean, it held my interest and it ended the way I thought that it would, basically, right? So we are getting what sort of you predicted a few weeks ago, and I'm gonna make a prediction here, because I sort of thought it was gonna happen anyways, but I think I said it a couple weeks ago. I think Ten's gonna lose his mask soon, and I think this mask now has cost him a match and cost him basically an elimination from here. So that could be the story they go for,
Five got
right?
rid of his too.
Right. So I think...
And Grayson never wore one.
Because I think they see something in 10. I'm not quite sure I do, but...
I think he has maybe potential. I mean, I haven't seen anything amazing
some
from him.
He has some cool power moves, but I don't know about his selling and anything else, right? But we'll see.
Yeah, his mask kind of looks like a DC character. I'm not...
But I feel like, because he's not a bad looking dude, so I feel like the mask is on its way out. But that's my... But yeah, this match held my interest. I was fine with it.
I'm pretty sure his Instagram handle is Preston Vance.
Yeah.
Or Press 10, like with a 10.
I'm happy with the result. It's going to create a pretty cool dynamic for the match coming up tomorrow night, I guess, right? So I was fine with this. Nothing exciting, but it was solid.
I think, like, I mean, there are some... I'm really interested in Hangman Cole, and
yes,
a little less so, but also a lot for Mox Danson. I don't know. This might be my most anticipated. I think it's either this or the world title match.
And odd that there's nothing for House of Black, right?
Yeah, I don't think like anything like...
They're not... There's nothing ready, I guess.
Exactly.
Technically,
I'll talk about it later, but I was thinking I popped in my Murphy versus Phoenix would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be awesome.
But we could get some, once those trios titles comes, even House of Black, that's an awesome, because I love
Murphy.
Big power guy, you've got the striker guy, and you've got like Murphy, who's like your kind of hybrid high flyer or whatever guy. So that's a cool little...
He can high fly, he's got a cool group. Power, and he's a striker.
Yep.
Next we got Chris Jericho promo. We said that this Sunday, Eddie finally gets his chance to win the big one, because Jericho is the big one. Yep. Jericho did promo about how he's going to beat his ass and laugh at him. Santana and Ortiz walk up to Jericho. They fist bump Jericho, and Jericho asks if they're good, and they kind of like, they walk away, but they're like, it's kind of like
they're okay.
What?
Or I don't know. Like I was confused.
I really like Jericho being like a dick heel again. Like I think that's the best use of him.
Definitely.
But, again, he's got to stop using the business terms.
Agree.
Like, it's really annoying.
What did he say this time?
I don't remember, but because I
it was
borrowed notes, but like. I know it was something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was, I think he was talking about like, oh, we did a promo last week or something. Like, I think it was something like that. Yeah. Damn, Flinter thing is dumb. And why the hell did he fist bump them? Did
in the business.
Did the past few weeks mean nothing? Like,
I don't know. I'm hoping it's Santana and Ortiz setting him up, but I was confused as well.
I hope so, but I mean, I guess I can trust them.
But I am preferring this Jericho, and I think that I like the whole "you can't win the big one" story. That's a good mind game.
I still kind of want him to retire, though.
For Jericho to go. He's back in shape, right? So I'm really hopeful for a good match, because Kingston's going to tell a great story in the ring. And he's a good wrestler, right? So I'm hoping that they can pull something out, because if Jericho's in shape and ready to go, it could be interesting. And I don't know, everything Eddie Kingston does interests me, so I'm fine with this match existing. And like you said, I much prefer this heel Jericho for sure. So I was fine with this.
If they must use him.
I was fine with this, but also confused by the fist bump, hoping it's like a red herring or whatever, right? Yeah.
Next, we get a CM Punk promo. Another long one.
Looking sheepish as he heads to the ring, right? Because coming off of it's basically the idea is like, is he responsible for a villain origin story, right?
Like,
is basically what's going on.
Because like in the MCU, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's like a lot of Iron Man villains, or also Spider-Man villains, are kind of by Iron Man's design. Like in Iron Man 3, like him kind of neglecting this one guy kind of come back to bite him in the ass, and that, or like Vulture, Michael Keaton in the first Tom Holland Spider-Man, also because of Iron Man, or Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio, right? Also because of Iron Man, so it's kind of that kind of deal.
And Punk's playing a character, and at a point in his life where he would consider that, right, and he wouldn't be comfortable with that.
It's not like it's prime.
He doesn't, right? He's not heel Punk. He doesn't want to be responsible for creating this evil monster that maybe he did, right? As it was left last week, because he was kind of like, "Is this true?" without really into the microphone, and MJF was like, "Yeah, it's true," right? After the the crazy promo that MJF
is
cut
what
last week.
MJF said.
So we're expecting a payoff here. What happens?
So CM Punk walked out to the ring. He's in a plain white
which we now know should have been a tip-off, right? Usually that's a sign of something. Both of them. A lot of white clothing involved here.
Punk said he used to look in the mirror and ask himself, am I the bad guy? He said he doesn't believe that everybody's the bad guy in the story. Well, some people are. If you're Paul, whatever his last name is, from the Batman. Punk said up until last week he thought that Max was the bad guy. He talked about how MJF showed courage last week. Punk admitted that he can't shake the feeling that he's being gaslit, which means...
It means like someone's convincing you that the reality you experience isn't the case, right? Like gaslighting means you're trying to convince them that the way things aren't the way things are, and that it's something else, right?
Punk said he didn't think Max is lying because he believes those things happen to him. Punk added that he didn't know if it matters. Punk talked about how there's this famous picture of younger Punk with Steve Austin, and he said that he didn't lash out when Austin took his ball and went home. Good point. Punk spoke about how since he's been in AEW, he saw Max knock out Dean Malenko, who suffers from Parkinson's. He said, and he's seen Max bury Brian Pillman in his hometown. Punk talked about how he's heard Max say awful things about Darby Allin's uncle who died. Punk added that he hurt people. Punk mentioned he did not shake MJF's hand when he first got there. Punk said there's not anything else he can say that can be more impactful than anything he can do. He wanted Max to come out there so they can have a conversation in front of the world. And he comes out in a white suit.
With no intro, no music, just like kind of serious, looking a little bit sad as well.
Yeah.
Right straight to the ring, yep.
Punk talked about how he poured alcohol down somebody's throat. Who would he have done that to?
Would that have been Road Warrior Hawk, I believe?
What?
Maybe? I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
That's so weird.
I remember there being some sort of storyline. Anyways,
he mocked a dead person by using their ashes, which was Paul Bearer, Undertaker in 2013. And I think he also would something about like a guy's issues or like I don't know. There was some reference to the 2009 feud with Jeff Hardy as well.
Maybe that's what it was.
No,
it might have been Hardy.
I don't think it might have no, but I think there was a separate reference to Hardy.
Right.
Punk told MJF that all the hate isn't going to keep you warm; it'll burn you up. Punk said his respect isn't given; it's earned. He said this is about that 11-year-old kid that looks up to MJF the same way MJF looked up to Punk. Can't imagine a lot of kids are looking up to MJF, but sure. That led Punk to think he splashed water in his face and asked himself a question: are you the good guy? Punk said that his answer is that he sure is trying. Punk extended his hand for a handshake. MJF walked away from him at first, but Punk tossed the microphone down. MJF pushed his hand away and hugged Punk in the middle of the ring. And then they kind of hug for a second, and then MJF steps back and kicks him in the balls.
Obviously, there it is. We all knew it was coming.
A la Michaels and Jericho at WrestleMania 19.
Yep.
Then he hits a Heat Seeker, and he's wearing a white shirt with the Punk and MJF shirt or image on it. Shawn Spears and Wardlow come down. Spears got a dog collar, and Wardlow has the ring. FTR were there to kind of block off security guys. MJF punched Punk with the diamond ring, and he kept going. And then Punk was like bleeding.
A lot, like a ridiculous amount.
He said that
enough to worry that he's losing too much blood, to be honest.
MJF said he's going to show Punk in the mind suit that he's the devil himself. Spears pulled on the chain to choke Punk against the ropes, and then
basically hanging him over the ropes.
Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara make the save, so the heels ran away. I should correct that to say Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara made the save.
Sting saunters out, right? As a man's being like bleeding to death and strangled, he just kind of wanders out
also,
as the
Punk,
other two guys run.
Like said, "I'm a snake" or something, which is a Ring of Honor reference to Punk.
Yep,
I believe.
Yeah, man, I like this a lot. I like. Because Punk's kind of torn, right? In this speech, he's kind of saying, like, I don't want to be responsible for creating this evil villain, but is CM Punk leaving wrestling for 7 years really, like, does he have to feel responsible that made a supervillain? Like, is that really...
Like, I don't know if he should.
Like, could MJF not have persevered? Like, he didn't, whenever, what did he say? When
Austin...
Right, he didn't turn psychopathic or whatever. So I like that he's sort of debating back and forth. And we all knew what was going to happen. We all, like, that was the thing last week, right? As long as this turns out the way I think it is, then that MJF promo last week was amazing. And it did. And I like that they made us wait a week to get the payoff, too. And I think this elevates this feud, right, even further. And it should bring out the really, like, best or worst, whatever, most vicious side of Punk in what should be a probably very bloody match. So, yeah, I like this. I don't know. This is kind of a really good pro wrestling segment, right, between two people who can talk and two people who are actually good actors, which there are none of those on NXT, MJF. Unfortunately. But, yeah, I like this.
Yeah. I like this a lot as well. I think the promo from Punk was really good, different, like, really showing he did kind of change perspective. I think MJF is really amazing, true actor. Like, he could slip into movies if he really wanted to.
He could.
And even though I knew it was coming, he really sold reconciling with Punk and everything. Like, he's, whether you know it's coming or not, he always sells the crap out of it.
Right.
I think even the attack afterwards was really cool because it was just super like vicious. Brutal. Like, yeah, I think it was really cool. I like the one line after because it's like a callback to ROH Punk, I believe. I think overall this was great. Pushes us closer to the pay-per-view match in a way I think that they should have. I think they did this really well.
Like last week, he made us feel bad for him, MJF, almost, right? And then this week, he basically tries to kill a man in the ring. So I love that. I mean, MJF's fantastic. I don't know what else to say.
So next we get Keith Lee interview. He cuts off Team Taz when they show up. They say, I think someone said greetings and salutations, which is a nod to Keith Lee. I think he said that before in WWE. He says if they keep interrupting, there will be no one left. Stark says if Lee shows up on Rampage, he won't make it to Revolution. There was a little more, but I didn't really catch much.
Yeah, it was like the same as last week, basically, right?
I think it's good to get Lee another showcase up before the pay-per-view, even though I probably won't see it. And in fact, I did not.
Neither. Yeah, I don't know. Like a prolonged sort of introductory feud with a really low card guy. I don't know if that's maximizing Keith Lee at this point. And this was pretty similar to last week. And I just don't really care much about Team Taz. Like, again, this team that kind of talks tough and doesn't win anything. So I don't know. It's hard to see Team Taz as formidable. Like I imagine Keith Lee should dispatch of Starks, and I imagine he did. I don't know, but I don't know.
It adds like another layer to is Keith Lee gonna win, or is this
right?
Be
it's almost like they don't want Keith Lee talking because he just keeps getting interrupted. Right? He basically gets one.
Again, I think he's been pretty good so far.
I felt like there was a little bit of going back to his previous
delivery
this week, which I don't like. Yeah, I agree. It's been better.
Like, I really enjoyed that first one he got. Like, so.
And Starks is a good talker.
Maybe they're picking their battles or something.
Yeah, I guess so. And Starks is better at talking, but he's just not back. They don't back much up, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, I want another mid card title because I feel like whether it would be Lee or not, I feel like Lee doesn't have much to do in the TNT titles. Like, they just need something else. I know they need something.
I can't go down this road again. I don't want more titles. You do.
They need.
We talk about it every week.
I know they're not gonna have. I'm not saying they have too much. I think like all they need is one more mid card title. Trio titles. We're good.
Yes.
Like, and I just feel like, especially because they have a lot of roster, it's not in like that they have a big roster, it's that they have like a big roster
Put them on ROH and have a title.
People that deserve to have something, and also something bigger than ROH.
Have the ROH title and the TV title over there. I don't know. It's fine. But anyways, keep going. I don't want to talk about more belts.
Taylor Russ is going to hold all the Ring of Honor titles.
The belt collector 2.0.
Yes. So next we get Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa.
Kind of looking forward to this. Love 3 of the 4 of them.
Solid TV tag for women's match of the week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think they'd try to do different. It's Women's History Month or whatever, but
yeah, they're sticking with the formula. One match at this time, basically.
Yeah. Oh, really? It is kind of the same time.
It is pretty much the same time most weeks. I think it's like beginning of hour 2 usually around there somewhere.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think the last time I remember the main eventing would have been
Thunder Rosa and Britt. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm. There's a shoulder tackle struggle between Martinez and Hayter, with Martinez getting the better of it. Distraction from Rebel allows Baker to superkick Rosa, and Hayter takes control. Martinez hot tag flare into commercial break and a T-bone suplex to Hayter for 2. A ripcord forearm from Baker, a backbreaker by Hayter, a superkick by Baker, and then a heel trip by Hayter combo for 2. Mm-hmm. So that's a mouthful. Death Valley driver by Rosa for 2 with Hayter breaking the pin. Martinez hits a cannonball to Hayter on the outside, and then to Hayter and Rebel. And then Rosa hits the Fire Thunder driver to Baker for the win. So
yeah, that was
Rosa
surprising.
Pins Baker.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought this was just okay. There was something off here. There was a bit of sloppiness. Seemed like some confusion. And the finish was very surprising because you've
Better
got
than the Dusty Cup.
Baker taking the clean pin, right? It was still a lot better than Dusty Cup so far.
It makes me more the opinion that this is not Rose's time right now.
Right. Maybe.
I don't think she's getting the win.
That
over
is usually
Baker twice.
wrestling case, right? If you get a clean pin
and
here.
I mean, hey, that's a solid strategy. Because I mean, it doesn't make Baker look like. It makes Rosa look like she looks pretty strong heading in, and then like she can kind of take the loss,
yeah.
and then they can build back up when they actually want to go.
Right. I thought Hayter seemed to miss a few spots here, and I didn't really get into the match despite being a pretty big fan of 3 of the 4 of these women. And sometimes I find Hayter good too. I find her kind of hit and miss. I don't know. I was saying, is it chalking it up to a bunch of singles competitors not being used to working tag matches? Were they not given enough? I don't know what it was, but it did not work as well as I hoped it. I don't think it was bad. I just think it was kind of okay.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. I think it was solid, or fine.
Yes, fine. FNS special. It was fine.
I swear, if we ever like actually get merch, that's gonna be one of them.
FNS Wrestling Podcast. It's ... fine.
Yeah,
that's my
exactly. That would be awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Or like, I feel like
contact us if you think that shirt would be cool.
Yeah.
Right, and we'll make it happen.
We could it could either be like some sort of design where it's like FNS Wrestling Podcast. It's fine, or like it's like the logo on the front. Oh, okay. So,
oh boy, here we go.
Like one of those shirts with like the pockets.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to have a pocket, but it's like a small logo on the chest, and then on the back, it's like it says it's ... fine. Because I feel like we'd have to differentiate from the current.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we have it up. I mean, the ones that we had made.
Yeah, we have our own shirts and hoodies and stickers. Yep, we got merch.
Hit me up, and I will. I don't
try and get you a sticker. Kevin, I know you're listening, and you always gave comments every week.
If you want a sticker,
right?
Then...
let me know how you feel about a sticker. That's our guy.
We do have.
We hear from him every week, and I love it. I got this a regular commenter.
I think it wasn't the best, but I think this was like probably one of the best matches we've got in recent weeks for the women. Not a high bar.
No,
given there's one
and I
week.
can't remember, but yeah, it was fine.
Martinez Rosa.
Right.
Cargill Bunny.
Well, that was obviously a barn burner.
A barn full of bunnies.
Yeah.
I think again the commercial break was poorly timed, but thankfully didn't mean everything here. We still got a fine match. I think it was a bold choice to have Rosa pin Baker. Definitely makes me think.
Surprised
Baker's winning tomorrow.
That is normal wrestling.
Yeah,
logic.
Which I mean makes sense.
Yep.
So Ty Conti interview, green hair, Cargill interrupts and says nobody cares about her karate crap.
That made me laugh because
Yeah.
she couldn't even care to get the martial art right? Because it's not karate, it's jiu-jitsu and something
judo.
else, right? And it's just like nobody cares about your karate crap, and
Right.
that made me laugh.
And then Sterling says something about like some sort of like contract, and like basically Conti can't attack her.
Right.
As Anna Jay's holding her back. There wasn't much here.
The holding back looked pretty lame.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah. And I don't think Conti will win. Unfortunately, it's not her time.
Yeah. I think I like Jade better when she's interacting with a person and not just cutting a promo to the camera. Like, I'm gonna keep my eye on that going forward, but I feel like when she's actually talking to a person, I find her more interesting than just cutting a promo.
Yeah, I remember her camera promos used to be pretty repetitive.
Yes, they are. But yeah, I kind of liked her attitude coming through here, but especially the karate line made me laugh. But yeah, so this is fine.
Oh, I forgot to tell you because I didn't cover news, but not Stylander, Sheeta came back and attacked Deeb on Rampage. So.
Oh, nice. Good. That is a lengthy feud, man.
Put it on the pay-per-view.
Another match? We're good. 11.
No, I'm saying instead of one of these lesser matches.
Okay.
Or instead of 2 of these lesser matches. Yeah, so anyways, but whoops. Next we get her Statlander package. I didn't catch a lot of it, but Statlander said something about her being mad at her for winning, basically, and she was being childish.
Yep.
And Hurst was still mad about the adoption line Statlander said before, and asked why like she's talking to a camera and they should just like settle or whatever.
Yep.
And they both say they're done talking or something. I thought it was fine. Not sure if I'll see this because it is a pre-show match, but
I'll watch it. I usually watch the pre-show.
It's this and Hook QT Marshall.
I like this, and I was trying to think, why am I such a sucker? Because I always say it for the back and forth style of promo, and I think the reason is because, especially for like the less experienced people, it limits how much they have to say in one shot, right? So instead of having to say like a paragraph or a bunch of lines, they can basically go 1 or 2 lines and then go back to the other person, and it kind of forces them to keep things simple. So this worked. I think this did what it needed to do.
I enjoy them a lot.
Yeah, so I was trying to think about why I like them, and I think it helps keep things brief and simple and kind of. I thought this was just fine. It did what it needed to do, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we come to what can only be described as Clash of the Titans. As we
they're both
Wardlow
monsters.
versus Cesar Bononi. No, I mean like just because they're both megastars.
Bononi is bigger than Wardlow, eh? I thought that was an interesting choice.
Brief scuffle before powerbomb by Wardlow. 2 more powerbombs, he wins. Wow, surprising. Spears goes for the chair attack on Bononi per the usual. Wardlow stops it. They kind of have a stern stare off.
Yep, and
that was your Wardlow squash.
And Spears back down, right? So basically, it's another baby step in the Wardlow turn. He stops Spears from the chair attack. He wins the stare down with Spears. So at least, yes, it's another repetitive squash match for Wardlow, but at least I'm seeing baby steps towards something happening, right? So that's fine as long as they keep progressing things a little bit. If they want to keep doing these, because it's been how many weeks of these squashes now? Feels like 2 months. 7, right? So that's close to 2 months.
No, I don't even know.
That's a guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. There was some progression, so I'm fine. And obviously, the Wardlow's going to kill Spears at some point on his way to MJF, probably, I would think.
Poor Ty Dillinger.
Yeah.
Next we get House of Black promo. Black talks about how it wasn't it the House who gave Pac new vision, Penta his new darkness.
Right.
Dark entrance.
Like, why you hate us so much? We helped you evolve and become cooler.
King talks about violence, and Murphy talked about judgment, and they say they're the House, and the House always wins, which was in fact the name of their house show.
Which is a gambling line. It's like a casino. The casino always wins eventually, right?
I do call him Murphy a lot, so
that's okay. I'm still calling Walter.
Well, that's different because Gunter's dumb.
Yeah.
So I respect that.
Right. I liked this. I liked that Black is trying to take credit for the evolution of Pac and Penta, but
I mean, didn't he?
But it'd be more meaningful if Penta and Pac were actually like established as doing so, like, let's say they'd had a run now of being super vicious and dominant since they came, like, you know what I mean?
Or maybe maybe they can start that, but like,
right, what are you taking credit for right now? Like Penta doesn't seem any different as Penta Dark.
Except for the entrance.
Pac's doing the same stuff he does, which is awesome, but like, you're kind of taking credit for something, and I don't really see a difference, so I'm not sure what you're taking credit for, even though I like the idea of taking credit for it. But I liked the presentation of this, and I thought actually Matthews was good on the mic for his part, which was nice to see. So, and again, I like and this is a detail, maybe this is nerd level, but I like the whole, you have a large, medium, and smaller guy in the House of Black. I just like that, right? Like, there's no dupe.
Oh, Murphy's pretty jacked now.
There's no dupe, but he's short, right? Whereas he's not very tall. I think when you see them all standing, I don't think so. I think Black's a bit tall. Anyways,
well, yeah, but
I like the actual look that they're quite different, right? And also you've got like two super mega tattooed on every inch of their body, and then Matthews with not one on him. I don't think so. Interesting, but yeah, I just wish they were actually taking credit for something I could see instead of.
They could take credit for his entrance.
Right, I guess. I don't know.
His entrance.
But I like the sentiment. Not sure it's actually means much though.
It'd be funny if they trademark Penta Oscuro and they're like, we could take credit for your name, and then he's actually taking credit for it. You know?
Yeah.
I thought it was another really cool promo from this group. Black is cool in these. I love him so much. I think King was pretty solid. I think Murphy rounds out the group really well. I'm gonna probably call him Murphy for the first while.
Me too.
I need Phoenix back now. This is a trios match, main heaven, and Murphy versus Phoenix is absolutely insane, and I need that.
Yep. I'm on board for that too.
I need Murphy versus Omega so I can have a V-trigger fight.
Yeah, I guess.
That would be funny.
Lots of fresh matchups for Buddy. I try not to get on people's names, but the name Buddy for a heel wrestler doesn't work for me very well.
I don't know.
But anyways,
I don't really, it's always been his name.
I hate to pick on people's names because I don't know. It's not something I generally like to do. It just doesn't work for me.
I do get it, but I don't think it's that bad.
Even if he was just Matthews or something, I don't know. But anyways,
no, WWE did that and it was stupid. Just calling him Murphy, that's dumb. Yeah. He's always been Buddy.
Here's
Murphy,
your super evil heel, Buddy. I don't know. It's weird to me.
It's too late. It's always been his name.
I know.
So I'm okay with it. That'd be like calling someone Riddle. Next we get a Wardlow Spears segment. MJF comes up to Wardlow with Spears. They're and Spears trying to calm him down.
And MJF is still wiping Punk's blood off of him, which I thought was an awesome detail, right?
It's been a decent amount of time now.
Yes.
MJF then told Wardlow if he wins the face of his ladder match and the TNT title, then he'll actually let him keep the title. Oh, generous MJF. MJF said that Wardlow probably won't win anyways. He's kind of turning his back. And then Wardlow said it's because all he does is help MJF win.
Yes, it's coming.
And that gave me vibes of when I was watching the Ruthless Aggression thingies. There was something where like Triple H is going on for his match, and Batista was saying like, "I'm not gonna come up for your match unless he really starts." And then Triple H turns to me, he's like, "Unless he really starts kicking your ass." It was kind of like that.
That is the model they are following.
Exactly,
it feels like yes.
And then MJF slaps Wardlow and he reminds him that he worked for MJF, not AEW. Kind of odd. So he better remember that and threaten Wardlow's family as well. And Wardlow just kind of stared at him after.
Yeah, I liked a lot of this. So I love the wiping the blood off still as he comes up. Very like Lady Macbeth sort of style. And I think the point is, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the point is of MJF finally being like, I guess you can have the TNT. So my interpretation is he sees how dominant Wardlow is right now, and he doesn't want him anywhere near the main title because that's what MJF's going for, right? And he thinks that if push comes to shove, I can't beat this guy myself, so I'll let him have a title, and then he's out of my way. I think. I don't know. And
that seems like an MJ. And I think like
if so, that's cool.
He thinks he doesn't need another title, so he'll just go for whichever one is best.
Because I want the main one. You can have the other one and just get out of my way. And I liked Wardlow finally speaking up, like he just can't bite his tongue anymore as this guy talks crap about him all the time, right? So yet another baby step, I think, towards Wardlow being set free. And I don't know, because this whole thing, MJF is like, he said it a few times, you're not even an AEW employee, right? So maybe like there needs to be a storyline bit where TK signs him, right? Like you are now officially like Wardlow is all elite, like put it out.
I feel like they might have said he was all elite like when he first
and then
came
it could be, well, now he has a contract, so I don't need you, right? I have a job if I kill you right now. But anyways, I like this for many reasons. Yeah,
I think that's also a good way of like, why is Wardlow still putting up with this?
Yes, exactly.
A short bit here, but I liked it. Like MJF was kind of being like nice, and then still had to make like a smart comment, right?
And Wardlow just can't take it anymore.
I think Wardlow had a good comeback as well, and I like that MJF kind of reined him in.
Yes,
slow burn, working well. I think.
I agree.
And I think Wardlow is a favorite to win a ladder match, which Wardlow's not really a ladder match guy.
I would say so, yeah.
So it's kind of odd. I want to see he was in the ladder match last year, but I don't
feel like
remember.
He was, but I don't know. You would know.
I feel like he was, but I'm not sure. I know Ethan Page was.
Right.
He's not in this one because it's stupid Christian. Oh yeah, it's almost been a year of Christian in AEW.
Congratulations.
And the saddest part, almost a year of Sting wrestling in AEW. Because remember last year was the air quotes street fight.
Right.
In an abandoned warehouse.
Not on a street at all.
Literally like in a building that would be on a street, the opposite. Like
with the thing set up to be slammed through a couple stories or whatever it was.
Remember? Yeah, and like then a friggin' ring in there too.
Oh, that was kind of fun, I think, if I remember correctly.
It was alright.
Yeah.
Next, our main event is Undisputed Era, as I will refer to them as, versus Hangman Page and John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Action-packed trios main event. Hangman powers through some tandem offense from Redragon and suplexes Fish onto Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly and Silver exchange leg kicks, and Silver hits a suplex. Strike combo to Reynolds by Kyle O'Reilly. Fish blind takes off of O'Reilly and hits a leg kick to Hangman from behind and begins to target the leg. We got hot tag flurry by Hangman, a pop-up set of powerbomb for 2 by Hangman, Cole Hangman strike exchange, which turns into a mass brawl. A sequence where everyone hits everyone with something, which included a brief flurry from Silver to Cole before Cole hit a patella drop brainbuster, 2 super kicks, and a last shot to Reynolds by Cole for the win. I am not calling it the boom. That's dumb. And then Cole beats on Reynolds more. O'Reilly attacks Hangman, who tried to get Cole off of him, and then he fights Redragon. Fish prevents a buckshot to Cole, and Redragon tape Hangman's arm to the ropes, and so they make Hangman watches. Silver takes a total elimination, and Reynolds takes a Panama Sunrise.
Yes. Definitely.
I thought it was pretty good. I think could have gone a bit more time, but I think
That's exactly what I said.
They packed in a lot of great stuff here for what they could. I like Cole being a coward because it makes sense for him and makes Hangman look better. Only detract from that what I would have liked a little more Cole in the match. But I think all around was pretty good. I think post match was solid too. I think generally pushes us a little further to the pay per view, which is what they need to do.
That's right. Yeah, I thought it was a good main event. Very fun final few minutes. I thought too it felt short, but I think they were freeing up room for the aftermath, basically, right? They were
Yeah.
trying to get to that. Cole avoiding being in the ring anytime Paige was great, and commentary pointed out that Britt Baker was doing that same thing in her tag match, which I thought was a cool little detail. Red Dragon are great as his sort of protection, right? He can avoid confrontation, and those guys don't care; they'll do it. The only thing I like, Reynolds seemed to be just there to take offense, right? Did he do anything?
I think he did a bit, like at least
Very
with
little.
Silver, like he did a bit.
Silver's flurries are always a highlight for me, and he got one here for a little bit before he took, I think, the Ushigoroshi kind of quickly, right?
Sushi Goroshi.
So yeah, I mean, the match could have been longer, and I think the aftermath could have been shorter, but I still enjoyed it, and it made sense to me. And you're right, it's kind of a standard go home thing for the main event, setting it up, and the tag match as well. So yeah, I thought it was a very good main event. I wouldn't say like a top notch Dynamite main event, but a good one.
Yep, for sure. Thoughts on the whole show?
In ring, I don't think this was the best show. Like, I liked the main event, I liked the opener,
But then Battle Royal.
But then it was Battle Royal was fine. I didn't love it. The women's tag match wasn't great. And then we got another Wardlow squash, right? But I thought it kind of made up for it segment wise and promo wise, because I like Jericho's, I like Punk's. I didn't mind the Statlander Hirsch back and forth. Even Jade Cargill entertained me a little bit. The House of Black promo was good. So I'm kind of torn. What am I going to do this week? I'm going to give the show an overall a B. I'm close to a B plus, but I'm going to stick with a B. I thought it was a good show, but nothing super spectacular. It was more segments and promos I enjoyed than in-ring work this week. So still a good show, but I don't think it was amazing. So I'm going to give it a B, close to a B plus, but a B. You?
Mm-hmm. I think in general this was a good show. Starting off that announcement, I actually wouldn't have seen coming.
Oh, that
was
too,
pretty
right?
Cool.
I forgot about that.
Danielson vs. Daniels was a solid match and nice callback. Casino Royale was fun, solid battle royal. But I think I prefer last week's more. Pleased with the result. Baker, the women's tag match was solid. Fine, I guess. The Wardlow squash was standard. The main event was pretty good. Builds the Revolution more. Sting promo was whatever. Jericho short promo was solid. I didn't get the Proud Powerful thing. Punk MJF segment was another great one. Keith Lee short promo was solid. Conti Cargo segment was alright. Sandler Hirsch one was pretty good. House of Black promo was a pretty cool one. And the Wardlow segment escalates things the right amount before pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
I think not an outstanding show, but pretty good one, so I'd give it a B+.
Nice. Yeah, I was pretty close to that as well. All right, well, that wraps that up, and we'll now move into a little bit of trivia just to cleanse our palate before we dive back into weekly wrestling shows. So let's take a look at what we call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so we're hitting chapter 2 of my birthday trivia book, and because I think this will be a long episode, I'm going to do half again, so we'll do the first 15. So I'm hoping that this is up to date because it is WWE record, so it might be one of these where you're like, nope, book's wrong, there is a new whatever. But anyways, that's fun even if that does happen. So are you ready? And again, you have options if you like them, okay? Which superstar has won the most WWE championships?
World title?
Or they just say WWE champion. So I think like main WWE, like
Cena?
either. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so world title.
Your options were Undertaker, Lesnar, Trips, or Cena, and you are correct. Is
Tricky
Cena.
Whippy.
How long? And I know this one has just changed, so don't include who just beat Natalia that quickly. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Right. How long did the fastest match in WWE history last?
6 seconds.
Before that, no.
No.
That's not what it's saying here.
Was it Rock and Eric Rowan?
Nope. It was a tag team match. I'll say that.
I have no idea.
3 seconds, and it was Jericho and Lawler defeated Taz and one of your favorites, Naked Midian.
What the hell?
That's what they're saying.
That was the weirdest match I've ever heard.
I think so too. Okay, so on the flip side, then number 3, what was the longest singles match in WWE history?
I don't know.
I know these are hard options.
Michael's Bret Hart?
Want options? No.
Uh,
Your options are, I'll give them to you because it looks like you're struggling. Hogan Andre, San Martino, Waldo Von Erich, The Rock Goldberg. Yeah, because Goldberg's going 80 minutes. Or Shawn Michaels Undertaker.
Michael's Undertaker?
No.
San Martino?
Yes, San Martino, Waldo Von Erich, 81 minutes.
I don't even know who that is.
It's a Von Erich I hadn't heard of either, so obviously that is, well, obviously San Martino was before my time even, right? Number 4, what superstar has fought in the most matches? Interesting.
Undertaker?
It is not Undertaker.
Trips?
No. Would you like options?
Cena.
Would you like options?
Orton?
You would like options.
Yeah.
Orton, Ziggler, Big Show, Kane.
Kane.
It is Kane. Very good. It's kind of always around,
That's
right?
Weird.
5.
He's a good guy.
All right. Yeah, great guy. Some very, very thoughtful tweets or whatever. Anyways, who cares?
Good old Hangman.
He's a dirtbag. Add him to the dirtbag wrestler list. That's what's social media, the worst part of it. Wrestlers that I like, I'm realizing they're dirtbags. But anyways, who is the youngest wrestler to become WWE champion?
Lesnar.
Correct.
Okay, because
nailed it.
I'm not sure. It's like because I know that Orton was, I think, a little younger, but he was world heavyweight title. So
very good detail. Number 6, true or false? Kofi Kingston, spelled incorrectly, is the first superstar. Koffi. Kofi Kingston is the first superstar born in the continent of Africa to win the WWE title. True or false?
Is Jamaica in Africa?
No.
I say is Kingston Jamaica, so false.
That's not actually where
real. So
real.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, because I don't know if we're going kayfabe or not.
No. Number 7, who's the oldest?
Kofi Kingston from Kingston, Jamaica, man.
Who is the oldest wrestler to become WWE champion?
Bob Backlund?
No.
Oh.
Think.
Oh.
Think. Wrestler, quote unquote. That's my hint.
Oh, Vince McMahon.
Correct.
Right.
Very good. Number 8 of 15. Which superstar was the youngest, there you go, to become the world heavyweight champion?
Randall Keith.
Right. Correct. Number 9. What superstar had the shortest reign as world champion? I just watched this.
Yokozuna?
No. Think about somebody giving the title up. I think if that's what they're counting.
Finn Balor?
No. Think about 80s. Was it 80s? I want to say 80s.
Oh, Andre the Giant.
Correct. Because I just watched this, right? He won it and then he handed it over to $1 Million Man immediately.
Yeah, sold it.
So I think that counts, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going for. True or false? Jonathan Cena has the most WWE championship reigns with 13.
Didn't they just ask me if it was him earlier?
Who had the most? Now they're saying, is 13 the right number, I guess?
Yes.
It is.
Because he had 3 world heavyweight title runs.
Nice. 11. Who is the longest reigning world heavyweight champion? Did not know this.
Triple H?
No.
Edge?
No.
Batista?
Yes. Batista. It's not an auction, I can give you options if you want it. Number 12.
Auction.
Bruno Sammartino holds the record for the longest WWE championship reign. How long did it last?
Isn't it like 7 years and something?
7 years and
3 months?
8 months. Very good. Right. You would have gotten it because it was the only option that was 7 years. 13. Who is the oldest world heavyweight champion? Options, if you'd like.
Undertaker?
Correct. Very good. 14. What team has the most WWE Tag Team Championship reigns?
Dudley's?
Correct. The Dudley Boys with a Z. Because that's how we did it in the 90s.
I just know they had like a lot.
You want to indicate your extreme? Make your S's Z's.
Hardy Boys.
That's all you got to do.
Hardy Boys.
Last one. Which superstar has won the most tag team championships with 12?
Edge.
Correct. Very good.
Yeah, I know. He's like famous. He's had like a crap ton.
Those belts went back and forth between Hardy's, Edge and Christian,
it was
Dudley's,
like,
right?
With Christian, with Hulk Hogan, with Chris Jericho, with Rey Mysterio, with Randy Orton.
He probably has. I guess then he would have most title reigns with different partners too. Probably.
Yeah, he's had a lot of different partners. I'm probably forgetting someone else, and also someone else.
Very good work. You did quite well again as usual. Mm-hmm. And I guess we'll flip back to talking about some more wrestling as we take a look at this week's NXT UK. All right, NXT UK this week. Hopefully it was good. I don't remember. Looking at my notes now.
I remember very little, and I don't even have notes.
So the show starts with a quick video hyping the main event for this week, which is Ilya Dragunov defending the NXT UK Championship against Nathan Fraser. But the opening match is right away, and that is Mark Coffey taking on Shaw Samuels.
An equally big match.
Right. So this stems from Gallus hijacking Noam Dar's Supernova sessions a few weeks ago, and Shaw Samuels is affiliated with Noam Dar, so I guess that's why this is happening. And man, Shaw Samuels has gotten into great shape since being paired up with Dar, and he no longer Well, he has suspenders, and he didn't start with them on, but they ended up on at some point.
He puts them on before the match, I think.
No, he started without them on, and then he put it on during the match.
It's the opposite of how it should go.
Right. But at least he's not wearing the really high-waisted trunks, because I thought they looked ridiculous. So his ring gear's still not great, but it's a little bit better. Anyways.
It's very yellow this week.
Holds and counters to start. We get a Russian leg sweep and a backdrop by Coffey as Shaw has to escape to the floor. He then, Shaw gets in control with a back elbow and a body slam. And then there's basically, I would say, ground and pound by Shaw Samuels until kind of a sudden Michinoku driver by Samuels as well. Shaw then misses a second rope elbow drop. Coffey takes over with a clothesline and some uppercuts. Leaping kick by Coffey for 2. A double clothesline, both men are down. We get a strike exchange leading to a Uranagi and a diving uppercut to I think Shaw was seated for this, right? It's like a diving low uppercut by Mark Coffey for the win here. This was like a really physical battle, right? It was a lot of basic hard-hitting offense. So I didn't mind it. I thought it was a solid match. The finish...
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I just didn't really care a ton, and I it was pretty basic, like you said.
It was,
so it
and the finish came out of nowhere, and it wasn't the most devastating combination, right?
It reminds me of the breakout tournament last year.
It reminds me of who's doing that?
Everyone in the 80s?
The Creeds, right? Oh. They're winning with this diving uppercut thing.
No, it's like that weird slam in the basement clothesline.
Oh, right, similar idea, and this was a basement uppercut, I guess. So I thought it was a solid match, but it was again just a couple. The big guys kind of doing basic hard-hitting stuff, and that's what you're into, then you probably like this. I thought it was a fine start to the show. Nothing amazing, but fine. Fraser's shown warming up backstage, and then we cut to A-Kid, who's training in the ring, and Dempsey sort of interrupts, which was cool, calls A-Kid over to ask if he'll show Dempsey the technique he's working on. A-Kid basically says no, since Dempsey's probably just going to use it against him. And then Dempsey starts to explain, right, that it's not the real him that has sort of been teaming up with Di Familia. Whether he's being sincere or it was part of a ruse, I don't know, because it leads to an attack by Di Familia. And Dempsey sort of shrugs, right? Oh, I guess. And I don't know if it's...
At first he was kind of against it and then just kind of joins in.
Right, so I don't know if it's reluctantly joins in is the right way to say it, but that's what it seemed like to me, right? Oh, well, I am part of this group and they just attacked him, so I'll join in. So they attack A-Kid, and then eventually officials sort of stop them. So this is one of those really simple stories, but I'm enjoying it, right?
Yeah, I'm happy in getting Dempsey versus A-Kid.
Right,
so.
And now there's a little bit of doubt as to how committed Dempsey is to this heel group, right? And what's the thing?
Well, that kind of sucks because I want him to be heel.
I know, and he might still be, right? So it's hard to determine how coordinated this attack was, right? So was Dempsey talking to Kid to set up this attack, or was Dempsey being sincere, which is more what it looks like, and Di Familia just showed up? So I kind of like that it could be either of those things, and we don't really know.
Yeah.
So this is one of those really simple stories I'm enjoying. I think you are too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We then get something you probably enjoyed less because you don't like her, which is an Isla Dawn vignette.
It was really weird.
So she's sniffing flowers in a graveyard because remember she stole Mako's flowers last week, and her thing is she takes trophies from people, right? So this is her Mako trophy, I guess, until she can get the belt. So she's basically singing this promo, right, about the final boss falling and that Isla Dawn will stand tall. And then she takes some of the flowers, I guess the ones that she didn't eat last week, and she puts them in the box that we've been told where she keeps the trophies, right, that she's taken from other people. I personally thought this was cool, a kind of a different way to stay consistent with Isla Dawn's kind of strange... It's not even supernatural, I would have a big problem with it. It's just she's kind of creepy and dark, I guess, kind of like Malachi Black, similar idea. And it further sets up the match with Mako. So I thought this was fine, because we've seen some really bad vignettes on UK in the past month, so I had no issue with this. What about you? You probably didn't like it as much as I did.
It was okay. I mean, I'm not going to say I liked it, but I'm not going to say it was bad.
Right,
it was just kind of I don't know, it's just kind of odd. I don't think it's great or anything, but it's okay. It was just kind of, I'm not a huge fan of it or anything, but I think it's all right.
Yep. We then get a replay of the controversial end to the tag team title match last week where Trent Seven sort of ran by, and I can't remember if it was Smith or Carter, but not...
I don't know how it's controversial, because if the ref didn't see it, then that's their fault.
But I think it's just controversial that it's a babyface team who are
yes, but why not?
Taking on all comers, and then they cheated to win, basically. And I think they're going somewhere with it. So Mustache Mountain start to talk about their successful defense. Carter and Smith interrupt, obviously demanding to know what the shortcut finish was all about. So Seven sort of takes over and says that they worked really hard to get these titles, and basically they're going to do anything to keep them. He says it's only about winning, and they didn't really cheat. So I guess he considers that not cheating. I don't know what you would call it, a loophole. I don't know.
I guess. I wouldn't say it's cheating, because it's not like it's like illegal. It's just if the ref didn't see it. Like,
but you're doing something that the ref didn't see. I guess it's like
underhanded. But
okay,
like,
underhanded's a good word.
Like,
I'll allow it.
Not even like something along those lines of underhanded, I guess. I'm not sure if I would quite like go there, but like something like that.
So Carter says it's not over. Smith points out that they are where Mustache Mountain were before, basically trying to get that more title shots, and they say that they deserve another shot. Bate sort of agrees. Seven, I thought, seemed a little bit less willing. So I feel like this is where this is going, is that Bate is not the guy willing to take any shortcuts, and Seven just wants to keep the titles by any means necessary. I feel like they're sort of planting the seeds of some dissension between these two.
Sucks.
Yeah, it does. I think Bate should be a single star myself, but
I also think they're not really a team that needs to split.
No, not yet. So I like this as well. I think it's really simple and kind of realistic. Seven will do anything to win. Bate may not be fully on board with that philosophy, and the baby faces do deserve another shot because they kind of got hosed out of the titles,
right? Yeah, that kind of
so,
sucks, though, because I feel like there's better challengers.
Is there who?
I don't know. Just
right?
D Familia. Boom.
But that's maybe Gallus. I don't know. But anyways, I like the first
more
match.
Interesting challengers also.
And they're still trying to develop Smith and Carter into something, I think, for the future. So I'm okay with this continuing. We then get, speaking of tag team matches, Mastiff and Stars versus Pretty Deadly, and I'll put in some celebratory music or people applauding.
Wait, okay.
Jack Stars has earned his own vest.
Yes, he did. Okay, so I know there used to be a team called Vicious and Delicious, so they could be Vicious and Vested, right?
That's right.
Yes. Wait, invested? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, invested. Yes, very nice. So yeah, he's got his vest on, and this match sort of stems from, I think it was Stars cutting holes in the shirts of Pretty Deadly, who somewhat ironic because they wear like a third of a shirt anyways. So I don't know what they're so mad about holes being cut in their shirts, but they are. So Nigel suggests, I don't know if this, like, they're trying to shoehorn this in, that Toxic Attraction have noticed Pretty Deadly. I don't know if you caught that. He made a reference to Toxic Attraction. They're seeping into other shows. It's not a good look.
Don't do that, guys.
So Howley, I think I finally got the names of Pretty Deadly down. I don't know what it is that was so hard for me to
Howley
get it.
And Sam Stoker.
Right. So Howley and Mastiff battle to no advantage to start. A Stoker distraction allows Howley to attack Mastiff's leg quickly, but Mastiff ends up taking both of them out and tagging in Stars. Stars gets a little bit of offense, and he quickly wants to tag out, but Mastiff won't let him. Just sort of like, I think it's more like, you can do this, you can keep fighting kind of thing. So Stars does take the fight to Stoker. We get frequent tags and double team moves by Mastiff and Stars for a bit as they're in control. Then there's a blind tag to Stoker. He posts Jack Stars, and that shifts the momentum as Pretty Deadly isolates Stars for a bit and hits some double team offense of their own. We get the eventual hot tag to the big man Mastiff. He dominates Howley, including an overhead belly to belly. There's another blind tag that leads to a DDT to Mastiff, and Pretty Deadly takes Star's vest, and Stoker puts it on. Oh my god. How dare he?
He didn't do the challenges to earn it.
So Mastiff hits a German suplex to Stoker, tags in the furious Jack Stars, who just, you've desecrated his vest, he gonna kill you.
Yeah,
basically,
literally.
Right? So he takes his vest back, puts it on, before landing a flurry to both of the heels. Stars sends Howley out of the ring, counters a Stoker powerbomb into a powerbomb of his own to a much bigger man, so that was kind of cool. And he actually pins Stoker here for the win, as Mastiff's like, I think the idea is he's amazed at like the aggression and physicality of his.
Amazed.
Basically, just as soon as people touch the man's vest, he goes bananas, right? So
maybe he should like just rip up his vest and blame it on someone.
Or Mastiff could start throwing it to the other team when he needs Stars to get motivated, right? Like without Stars seeing it, funny. Like behind his back, like chuck it to the other team.
Wait, what if they're not facing heels?
And be like, they have your vest. Doesn't matter. It would still work.
But that would be kind of a mean thing to do if you're not a heel.
Well, if it motivates him to win, right? That's the bottom line.
No, but I mean, like, what if the other team isn't heels?
So they still took your vest.
They wouldn't do that.
But Stars won't care. He'll be blinded by rage. He's not thinking straight when someone touches his vest. How dare you? You think if someone stole your favorite leather vest that you wear with no shirt underneath, that you could just, you wouldn't be thinking clearly. You'd just see red.
You know me.
You'd go
I
bananas.
do have a favorite leather vest.
Everybody should.
Everybody
right? It's a staple of a gentleman's wardrobe.
Exactly.
I thought this was a solid tag team match. The story of the vest is kind of weak, I think, but
What did you say about the vest?
I guess it's this thing that gives Stars confidence to be the killer he needs to be to tag with Mastiff. So, I mean, Stoker and Howley seem to be drifting a little bit since losing the titles, but they're a good heel team to use in situations like this, I think. So compared to many of the matches we get in the middle of NXT UK, I thought this one was pretty good, actually, because this seems to be the one where it's a enhancement match generally, right? Which this was not. So I was kind of happy with it. What about you?
Yeah, no, it was alright. I think the whole vest thing is...
It's not the best. It's a symbol of his whatever.
The vest ain't the best. That is true.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think Pretty Deadly are fine, but I think since they're done with the tag titles, they don't really...
They're directionless a bit, yeah.
And Mastiff and Stars is one of my least favorite teams.
Yet they're on just, every week.
Yeah, somehow. And now there's the vest, I feel like they can just drift away.
Yep. So Dragunov shown warming up backstage, and speaking of on every week lately, it's Xia Brookside. So she's kind of having a temper tantrum after her match from last week. I think it was like a previous this week or whatever, or earlier this week. She calls her daddy and whines about the loss not being her fault. She asks her daddy for help, hangs up, and gets mad that she's being filmed having this conversation. So to me, I think Xia might actually be doing a good job with this. I just don't think it's a character that interests me personally, and it's so similar to Tiffany Stratton, which I watch on 2.0, right? So it's
which
kind
you
of...
love.
I do love. So I don't know. I think Xia maybe is coming into her own a little bit doing this heel work. It's just not a character I really care about. I don't know about you.
No, I don't love it. I don't. I think she's doing a fine job. I wouldn't call it great or anything.
She's doing a job.
she's doing a job. Yeah. That's all I can really say. I don't really care. I don't even. Like, I know her dad's Robbie Brooks. I was like, what, are we going to get Robbie Brooks on television?
I don't know what it's going to be. Is he going to be pulling strings for her?
I don't really care.
Yeah,
like,
me either.
I don't even know what his role is. Like, I know he does stuff, but I don't know what stuff he does.
Me either. We then go back to the trucker from last week. He is still investigating whatever he hit with his truck, I think. So he's kind of in the woods. And Primate, I'm guessing, is providing a voiceover here about being abandoned by Symbiosis. And
I thought it would be Wild Boar.
Or sorry, Wild Boar. You're right. Sorry. And hiding himself away. I got the wrong one. The trucker then finds a tin can of like beans or something. So I don't know if
Is that what it was? I didn't know.
It was a can of something.
I didn't notice.
And we see a flash of something sort of poking its head out. I think it was Wild Boar, but we even rewound it and it wasn't clear, right? But I assume that's what was going on here.
Yeah, I think it is, which I'm pretty happy about because I think I like the hunt, and I feel like the two kind of wild guys make more sense in faction.
But it feels
Symbiosis,
like Wild Boar is gonna fight them first, so
which I feel like maybe they make it look like that, but then they just all beat up T-Bone.
They could for sure.
And T-Bone is gone forever.
So I like this segment too. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
And again, I'm assuming it's Wild Boar. I don't know who else it could be, and he has good reason to be upset because he just kind of got replaced by
I don't even know how.
Eddie Dennis.
I want to say he was part of the speaking out thing, but I
was he?
Don't. I don't know. I don't either. But I feel like he was just randomly gone. Like it's either that or an injury. Cause I don't know. Cause I know him and Primate were teaming. I want to say it was in speaking out. I feel like it was, and like it's not like it means automatic release because it wasn't Devlin also.
Yes, I think there was something involved there where he was trying to get somebody not hired or fired from there due to his past relationship or something. I can't remember.
So I think maybe Wild Boar was in that. I don't know, but
he definitely fits better with
exactly right. So I'm feeling like maybe they make it seem like he's out for revenge, but he's just like coming back to be like, hey guys, I'm back in the club.
Hey guys,
I'm back in your
Could be.
club.
But yeah, cool segment. So then Joe Coffey, Noam Dar package ahead of their match next week. Dar says Coffey made the mistake of sliding into Noam Dar's lane. It's kind of a back and forth, right? Coffey says we'll see who really wants this title. Dar says he'll win in the second round. I think something like that. Like he basically said, I don't think it'll go longer than 2. But between their very thick accents and My wife, happy birthday to her today. Washing dishes and clanking things around behind. I didn't catch much of this, right? And turning it up didn't seem to help for some reason.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a pretty standard pre-match promo. And Adar definitely is a charismatic guy, and I think the match should be really good. I'm looking forward to it. Thoughts? I don't know how much you heard of it either. Mom was running water for a really long time behind us.
Yeah, I didn't catch a lot of it. I thought it was fine, though, from what I was able to garner.
Yes.
Didn't get much of it.
Yep. So then we move into our main event, which is Nathan Fraser taking on Ilya Dragunov. And I asked, have you noticed Dragunov's entrance gear before? I felt like it was new this week because it was like a robe with like feathers on the collar and whatnot.
I don't even remember what it was this week. I don't even remember this week, so...
It was a departure for him, I thought, but I could be wrong. So Dragunov controls Fraser early on the mat with headlock takedowns, and everything this guy does looks really aggressive, right? I'm a big fan of Dragunov at this point. So Fraser's using his speed and elusiveness to catch Dragunov with a series of forearms. Dragunov hits some vicious knees and forearms and then applies a submission hold. It was basically like $1 million dream, I think he kept going back to in this one.
I think they even
said that, right, at some point?
Dropped it.
Yep. Hard Irish whips and chops by Dragunov, and he hip tosses Fraser from the apron into the ring. Fraser ducks a clothesline only to take a stiff clothesline from the other arm of Dragunov. Dragunov throws Fraser off the top, follows up with a German suplex, then another, but Fraser flips out of the third attempt, springboards off the ropes, but gets caught and hit with a bridging suplex by Dragunov for a near fall. We get a super kick by Fraser and a Hurricane Rana for a 2 count. A backflip off the ropes into the reverse DDT by Fraser again. Dragunov chops Fraser's knee, hits an enziguri. We get a sling blade by Fraser. Both men are down for a bit here. 2 more really nice super kicks to Dragunov for a near fall. We get stereo clotheslines to no advantage repeatedly until Dragunov rebounds off the ropes and takes Fraser down with a really hard looking clothesline. Dragunov goes up top, but he gets hit with a drop kick. Dragunov blocks it briefly, but Fraser ends up hitting a top rope Hurricane Rana and a Phoenix Splash for another near fall. We get a power bomb and a falling forearm to the face of Fraser for a 2 count. German suplex by there's an L in there, by Fraser after a slap exchange, but another stiff clothesline from Dragunov. He finally hits Torpedo Moscow, and Dragunov wins this match, and they do the respect angle. He shakes hands with Fraser afterward and seems to be complimentary of him. So this match I thought was mostly the story of Dragunov being largely dominant and Fraser trying to land anything he could, at least for the first half of this match. Then the second half was a little bit more even and back and forth, with Fraser getting to execute a lot more offense. And it just one of those things with Dragunov, right? Like I talk about Pac. Simple moves like chops and clotheslines look vicious when Dragunov does them, and Walter as well, right? He's in that boat with it. But for Dragunov being a smaller guy, it's really impressive. Kind of Ben Wash, like everything's a little bit extra intense with him. So I thought this was a very good television match, a very nice main event. I thought what a solid episode of NXT UK. I don't think the outcome was ever in doubt. I never thought Fraser had a chance to win.
No, definitely not.
Right? But it was a good competitive match, and I think it's going to help sort of elevate Fraser. Like, he can have really good kind of longer main event matches, which is
he has
is
kind of gone toe-to-toe with the two best guys.
Right.
Gunter and Ilya Dragunov.
Who? What did you think of this main event?
I liked it quite a bit. I think it definitely grew into itself as it went. I think Fraser... I was hoping he'd be a little more flippy since I've seen him, but
yeah,
he's pretty good. I like that they're kind of similar in ways, but also there was quite a styles contrast.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of cool. I think Dragunov is generally really great. I like him a lot.
Me too. He's grown on me a ton.
Remember the intensity was too much, but now I think they've settled into the right way to do him. For sure, getting rid of the contact lenses. Like, I think in general, just his presentation's much better.
He's just a killer in the ring.
Much more grounded.
Yeah.
And I think it was really good. A solid defense for Dragunov for sure. I think both of them come out looking good.
Agree.
And Dragunov can move on to his next defense. Fraser can maybe take a break or move into another storyline.
Yeah, they can reheat him if they need to later.
They can do whatever they want. I think it was a good main event though. Not the best we've seen, but I think it was pretty good.
Yep. Overall, I thought this was a better episode than recent weeks. No real enhancement or jobber matches, right? But no women's match, which is a bit of a minus. But I think what it was this week is everybody involved in all 3 matches has at least some sort of story going on right now, right? It wasn't any random matchup that's just enhancement. The main event was really good, and I thought the other 2 matches were solid at least, right? The opener was a nice physical battle, and the tag match was a tag match? Sorry, I lost the middle match there. But yeah, I kind of had no major issues with this show. The segments were better than they have been in a few weeks, with nothing really standing out as bad to me, and a few times there has been lately. I like the continuation of the trucker story. I liked Isla Dawn's vignette. So I enjoyed this show quite a bit. I gave it a B. Like, nothing amazing. If one of the other two matches had been a little stronger, it probably works its way to B plus or A minus. But I thought a solid show top to bottom, so I gave it a nice B. I don't know if you want to throw a grade on there.
Yeah, I think I generally, I think the main event was pretty good. I think the opener was fine. And then the middle match was also fine. I like that. Whatever the symbiosis thing was, again, Isla Dawn was also fine. I don't know. I think, yeah, we at least got all like solid matches, which I think for a 1 hour show, that's
Yeah, you were right.
that's like the bare minimum of what you need.
Yep.
So I think B grade's pretty fair. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. All right, so that wraps up NXT UK, and now we'll move into, I think we got a pretty beefy any other wrestling business coming up, so let's get to that now. All right, so I'm going to do NXT. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Impact, but I'm going to try and keep them kind of quick. NXT will be
less enthusiastic.
Quick, sorry. And you sort of watched a bit of NXT while you were doing some homework at the kitchen table behind me, right? So you may have some input this week.
Definitely did not see Lash Legend.
You did actually watch that, because dude, you can't miss Match of the Year contenders, okay?
That is true.
You would hate yourself if you missed it.
I would forever resent myself.
We get to our best of 2022, and you didn't see this match, right?
And then I mean, tears. I couldn't forgive myself.
Right. So it starts out with Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. So
whoa, the dirty dogs. Okay?
Let's talk about Ciampa's outfit. Go ahead. I hated it. Right?
He's wearing like one of those colorful singlets like Breaker, so they're like the Steiners. He looks like a goddamn child wearing a Halloween costume. He looked
like his Braun's little cousin who's trying to wear his. So it wasn't.
It's like Braun Breaker is like Bubba Ray Dudley and Ciampa is Spike Dudley.
So it wasn't completely matching, but it was very much the same style.
It was like, yeah, and it just looks. It's so ill-fitting. It's like so unbelievably ill-fitting.
It's like one of Braun Breaker's singlets shrunk in the dryer, and they handed it over to Ciampa.
Yeah, it just looks so ill-fitting. Oh my god, it was not good.
So he, and I think he even comes out first. It's just like Ciampa is the afterthought here, and it just kind of bugs me, right? He's clearly not the focus at all here.
Wait, a veteran's not being focused on NXT?
Crazy.
What?
Robert Roode gets a tiny bit of his glorious entrance before Ziggler's theme cuts it off.
They still they have a tag team. It's so good.
It wasn't as effective either because Roode's wearing like a sleeveless hoodie and not one of his elaborate gowns, robes, which looked way cooler for that entrance, right? But anyways,
I don't even know the last time he's like done his thing.
No, and that was cool to see because it was a cool theme and entrance, right? But so it was nice to have it for a few seconds.
He still has the same one, theme.
No, I'm saying they brought it back for this.
Oh,
they did the glorious theme because it was back to his NXT stuff.
Oh,
and that's why it was kind of cool.
No,
but he had
I'm surprised he still has that theme.
Well, I don't think he does. They brought it back. Are you not hearing the words coming out of my mouth? Like, he doesn't use the theme on, I don't think, on any other thing.
No, because they used their crappy tag
They
team.
brought it back for this, is what I'm saying. But he had like a hoodie on, a sleeveless hoodie instead, so not quite as effective.
He did do that in NXT before, right? I'm pretty sure.
With a hoodie?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so. Anyways, lots of crowd chants early on. There's "Go back to Raw," "You don't go here," "We want Ciampa." Coming out, and I think it was the actual crowd and not the piped in crowd at this point.
There's
but it's
no
hard
way
to tell.
know.
But I don't think they would pipe in those chants. But anyways, Braun takes a zigzag off a Roode distraction early. The heels isolate Breaker to build up for a Ciampa hot tag. Again, we get the non-picture-in-picture break. So it looks like when we come back, the heels have control of Ciampa and are isolating him instead. Roode pulls Braun off the apron, throws him over the barricade so that Ciampa can't make the tag when he needs to. We get a sudden high knee by Ciampa. He finally tags in Breaker, who cleans house with belly-to-bellies and clotheslines. Braun hits a really nice-looking spear, actually to Ziggler, tags Ciampa in for the top rope bulldog off of Braun's shoulders. But Roode breaks up the pinfall, right? Classic Steiner move. Braun then clears out Roode and Ciampa, hits the fairy tale ending to Ziggler, and pins him for the win after about 13 minutes. A solid opening tag match. The pace picked up for the final few minutes. standard heel isolation tactics throughout with babyface hot tags. Ziggler taking the clean pin ahead of a championship match was an interesting choice, I thought, but a perfectly fine match to start the show, and for NXT 2.0 standards, like a good opener, I would say, probably, right? It's just I don't have interest in a team that you have wrestlers you've been telling us for years are not important on main roster.
You know, Bobby Roode could do pretty well if they wanted to.
But they're not. They're presented as like a joke, basically, and now they come back here and it's like they're amazing, right? So, I mean, they did lose here, but still, I just struggle with that disconnect of,
no, for sure,
they're terrible on this show, but when they come here, they're the greatest thing ever. So,
it'd be like if R-Truth was good here,
right.
like, or something like that.
Right.
I don't know.
So then we get Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. They're walking through the parking lot all dressed up. I think they're basically wearing suits at this point. Then we're shown Pete Dunne doing the same thing as commentary, sort of.
He was also wearing a suit?
No, not. Hyping up the main event for tonight. We get an LA Knight promo. He wants us to call anyone we know to watch him call out Grayson Waller a little bit later. Sure. Walter then cuts a promo on Solo Sikoa. Walter's a professional, and Sikoa is not the first to try and make a name off of him. Sikoa will bring shame to his island. Walter will knock the tattoos off of Sikoa and replace them with respect. So this is the Walter I prefer. He was focused, intimidating, and speaking multiple languages here. Like I've been complaining because Imperium's been booked pretty weekly lately, I thought, but this promo
on a weekly basis.
This was an improvement. This is the Walter I want, right? I don't want skinny Walter. I mean, good for him for getting thinner and healthier, but it's not the same for me. LA Knight does go to the ring to talk. He spends the first part of this recapping everything he and Waller have done, basically, and
including the vampire.
I thought he was kind of thrown off by the crowd's reaction here, and when Waller interrupts, he does get a few cheers. So lately I've thought Knight was kind of getting over as this babyface, but I was confused here, and the crowd seemed to confuse him a bit too. That could just be me misinterpreting, but so Waller interrupts from the crowd. He's up there with Sanga. He calls Knight his roadblock, wink, wink, because we're going to hear that word a few times tonight, on the path to greatness. And he says he's done with LA Knight already. He tells the crowd they suck, goes to leave as Knight has something to show him. It's a still shot of LA Knight standing over Waller after the match last week. So Knight doesn't win the matches, but he takes Waller out afterward, and he challenges Waller to a last man standing match. And as we all know, anyone can make their own matches in NXT, so I guess that's going to happen. They go back and forth verbally a bit more, and the match seems to be made for next week. So it's fine, but I feel like it's pretty weak for the babyface, which is Knight in this case, to be like, sure, you win the matches, but I beat you up after the matches, so I'm better.
Why not beat him up during the match?
So you win when it actually counts, but I win when it doesn't count, so I'm cool. Like, that's kind of what I felt like what he's saying. And somehow that attitude leads to another match where the cowardly heel, who should probably, right, be avoiding this type of thing right now, because that's kind of his character. But anyways, this feud is going on for a really long time. But for the most part, I think these two work well together. I just don't know if it needs to still be going on. But anyways. Just stop me if you watched any of this and want to. I don't remember what you saw or not, so just.
I did not see most of it.
Just hop in when you're ready.
I saw that.
Persia and Indy are backstage for our NXT Junior High segment. Persia says she hopes Indy and Dexter can work things out because what was it we found out that Hudson was with Indy at some point, right?
Persia.
No, Duke Hudson was with Indy Hartwell. I think they implied.
No, because remember he was kissing Persia and then she left. And then Dexter came in, so it looked like he had been with Indy.
Because they literally said Duke said something like it didn't seem to bother you in the past or something like that. There was an implication that Indy and Hudson have a history from being. I don't know. Anyways,
from what?
Because they're Australian.
Right.
I think, right? That's the connection.
That makes sense.
So Persia says Duke wishes them luck, and Indy leaves as Persia goes back to her phone one last time, and you can hear Indy calling her. So it's almost like she just wants to text or whatever with Duke Hudson one more time. Indy wants her to go wrestle. So the roles have flipped now. Persia's the not focused one, right?
Yeah,
Because boys.
Yeah,
basically, because you're 12 years old. So I don't care about these adolescent shenanigans, as I say every week. I find it actually takes away from the overall presentation of these two women because Persia Parada is sometimes impressive with her power stuff, but then it's like she's a 10-year-old backstage, and I'm out at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
We get a recap of last week's very short and not very good women's Dusty Cup matches, and a preview of tonight's matches as well.
Which are going to be just as good.
We go right into the first quarter final match this week, which is Wendy Choo and Dakota Kai, unlikely partners, taking on longtime friends and actual tag team Persia Parada and Indy Hartwell. And thank goodness we're shown that up in the stands, the Toxic Lounge is still there and Toxic Attraction are up there. We get stupid comedy right off the bat between Parada and Choo. That was my summary of the beginning of this. Choo then gets isolated, receives some double team offense from Indy and Persia. Choo crawls through Indy's legs to tag Kai, who takes control of Hartwell, hits her running boot in the corner. Parada comes in, overpowers Kai, hits like a, I don't know, I called it a sit-out TKO. I think you saw that, right? It actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like a fireman's carry face buster.
Yes, there you go.
Sit-out face buster or something.
Yes. Choo hits a reverse top rope splash that didn't look that great. And then Kai...
Oh, yeah,
so
I saw it. It's
this.
like a top rope Vader bomb. I don't know if I think I saw that, and yeah, I did see this. I might have seen a clip, too.
No, you were watching it. And Kai hits a top rope double stomp for the win, which was a bit of a surprise, right? So... this match got 5 minutes instead of the 3 they were getting last week, but it was still kind of boring, I thought. And I thought it was a weird choice that one of the only legitimate tag teams in this tournament lost to a team that has never been. But again, this is WWE's attitude.
I didn't even want a team.
This is WWE's attitude toward tag teams, right? It doesn't matter if you're an actual tag team. If you just throw singles people together, they can be just as good, if not better. Because tag teams, bah.
What do you mean, if not better? Always better.
Right. So I dislike both Wendy Choo and Kai's characters right now, but I don't mind them in the ring. I love Kai, actually. And we're going to get more of them, I guess. Great. So for me, man, at this point, this tournament's been a bust.
I'm going to say I did love Kai. I probably still like her in ring, but even then I don't like NXT 2.0 matches, so I don't like...
Right. It's her star has fallen. It's unfortunate because she's awesome.
She could have been a women's champion.
We then get a preview for Diamond Mine's NXT Tag Team Championship match against Imperium, which I thought was a cool package with sound bites from everybody involved. It got a decent amount of time.
Was that the Expectation Reality or whatever?
And I think you were like,
it was called.
Who are the baby faces here? Which I think is a fair question, right?
It was like...
I think it's Diamond Mine, but...
What was the concept that Bivin said? It was like something like...
I don't remember.
Something, and then something like comparing Imperium and Diamond Mine. It was like it was like something like Expectation Reality, but not quite like that.
I don't remember. I don't take that detailed notes for NXT anymore. They don't deserve my details.
Exactly.
Right. Last man standing match between Waller and Knight is official, obviously, because everyone just makes their own matches. Amari Miller and Lash Legend are shown arguing about their loss last week, and that's going to lead to the match of the year contender that's coming up.
Right? Or I don't know. I think that segment was from last week. I don't know.
It might have been.
Or it's like one of those like
earlier this week or whatever.
Earlier week.
So we get Lash Legend versus Amari Miller. We talked about the injury at the end, but Legend does hit a nice boot right to start this. Picks Miller up, bounces her head between the top and middle rope repeatedly, which I thought was interesting because I haven't seen it before. Backbreaker by Legend. She holds on, bends Miller across her knee. Amari fights back, hits a basement dropkick and a moonsault. We get a rough-looking fireman's carry slam. Legend wins in under 3 minutes.
It was not good.
So Lash rants at the camera about how everyone was talking about Nikita Lyons when they should have been talking about her. So as I said before, Lash isn't good. Now she's officially hurt somebody in the ring. She needs more training.
NXT's Nia Jax.
I think, she needs more training before she has televised matches. She has a cool look. She's really big and strong, but she cannot wrestle at all. But at least it was short. Solo Sikoa talks to Mackenzie. Solo says Walter can bring everything and he'll just keep coming forward. He says respect is a two-way street and Walter is in for a fight. I think, honestly, Sikoa's good at these straightforward short promos. He sounds quite natural, and I think he's probably one of the quicker call-ups of the new 2.0 people, just due to his lineage as well as his sort of abilities. I think he's solid already. So back to NXT Junior High, as it's Briggs and Jensen. So they're talking about riding things all night and like looking at pictures on their phone and being like, oh, I'd ride that all night long. And for some reason, can you explain to me why Elektra Lopez is just standing in the foreground as these guys are doing this?
Oh, she's walking by.
So she's standing there. She's offended. But it turns out, of course, they're talking about a truck and not a human being. Shocking. Lopez says that they wouldn't know what to do with a real woman. And Jensen admits that he basically says the joke's on you because I've never been with a woman. And he's all proud of that.
Or like a real woman, I think he said, or whatever.
A woman, period, I think. So Jensen then sort of taunts her like he got one over by making that comment, as Briggs is kind of looking like he's embarrassed or whatever. So I don't know. This is awful. These guys are awful. I guess it's consistent, right? We're just getting these things every week, and every week they're embarrassing for everybody involved. Walter versus Solo Sikoa. Walter's in early with strikes, but Sikoa fights back until Walter drops him with a nice chop. Body slam, clubbing blows from Walter. Boston Crab by Walter. And then just kind of the idea here is every time Sikoa gets going, Walter just sort of chops him down, right? This idea that, again, one shot from Walter is equal to 5 or 10 of yours, sort of thing. Spinning heel kick finally stops Walter for a minute. Sikoa counters a powerbomb attempt into a Samoan drop, and Walter has to escape to the floor. We get a splash off the apron to Walter on the floor. Super kick by Sikoa for 2. Sikoa goes up top, misses a splash. We get a sleeper by Walter. He transitions into 2 power bombs, and it's over in 7.5 minutes. A fine match, I guess. Walter, who I consider one of the best in the world, wrestling a mid-card guy on TV doesn't really do much for me. I'm happy Walter won decisively, and I was a little surprised because they were kind of like this Sikoa undefeated streak, right, is now over. Seems like odd timing for me. But as far as matches go, this wasn't like Walter matches, I should say. It wasn't great, but as far as NXT 2.0 matches go, it was fine, right? It's just weird to see Walter in the middle of the show facing a mid-carder. Like, they have to build Walter at this point, which is weird to me, but I guess at least he won.
Well, that's what you got to get used to. It's the weekly Walter, right?
That's
it's
right.
Like a different format, and he's not even Walter anymore.
And I guess not everyone in North America knows who he is yet, so they're kind of just trying to showcase him a little. I shouldn't complain too much. But again, lean Walter is less than chubby Walter. Yes, I want Haas Walter, like that that unique body type, like just big and strong but not ripped. I don't know. I loved it.
Almost burly, like.
Yes, good word. Yep.
Like, just like it's more intimidating, just because he's like.
He looked super intimidating.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
Like I'm just built to kill you. I'm not worried about looking good on the beach. I'm just a big, strong dude that's gonna kill you.
Right, he's got more like mass.
And now he's like, a tall, lean guy that's gonna kill you.
It's like
good for him, but
like if he was like lanky, it wouldn't be the same.
Right. So we then get Mackenzie's talking to Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler wants his title shot next week. Ciampa comes in and says any chance of Ciampa being the number 1 contender went out the window. Ziggler, when he pinned him in that match tonight.
Funny Ciampa saying that.
Ziggler says he's the bigger star, obviously, and he calls the shots at NXT. Braun and Ciampa.
I think it's safe to say Ziggler's a better star than almost anyone ever.
Of course, because you were on main roster, so that immediately makes you.
No, I mean like he's even a big star on main roster, right?
Sure.
Of course.
Yes. Braun and Ciampa show up. It leads to Ciampa reminding us that he's beaten Braun already. Braun says, "Screw this." He wants to fight them both because he's a fighting champion. So I guess.
Which event?
I think this is Dolph trying to drive a wedge between Ciampa and Braun because
they're like best friends now.
They've got this like tenuous alliance for now, I guess. It was fine, but I don't love a nobody from main roster again acting like he's running this place. But anyways,
nobody. How dare you?
Joe Gacy's with Harland. He's going to allow Harland to take his feelings out on Draco Anthony, but to remember that Draco is not the reason for these feelings and that everyone is fighting their own battles. Still like Gacy.
I am indeed fighting my own battles. That is a true statement.
So Indy and Persia are backstage, frustrated after losing their Dusty Cup match. Persia tries to take the blame for this, but Indy says they win as a team and they lose as a team, so she's being supportive here. Duke Hudson comes in to hug Persia, and then they leave together. Indy's left. She grabs her phone, wishing that Dexter would text her, as Wade Barrett informs us that Parada and Hudson are the new power couple in NXT.
Really?
Ooh, jealousy is coming.
Well, that is something I need to know, so thank you for Wade Barrett.
Still don't care about the story. More adults behaving like children.
Also, that reminds me.
It annoys me.
They cannot decide on what to call Walter. He's like Gunther or Gunter. Or Barrett always says Gunthar.
I have a suggestion. Call him Walter. That's
easy. A pretty good idea.
That's what I do.
I'm surprised they haven't done that before.
Triple Threat announced for Roadblock next week. They're now promoting this as like a special show. So we're getting Ziggler, Braun, and Ciampa.
They haven't used Roadblock since 2016, where they used it twice in the same year. There was Roadblock On the Road to WrestleMania, which was one of those glorified house shows. I believe actually in Canada too, in our neck of the woods.
Nice.
Which had Dean Ambrose versus Triple H for the WWE title in the main event. And then there was a Raw's December premium live event, Roadblock End of the Line, which had Jericho, Rollins, and it had the Iron Woman match with Banks and Charlotte,
right.
And that's when Cesaro and Sheamus beat New Day and Owens versus Roman Reigns.
So a storied history of Roadblock is what you're saying.
Yep, they did twice in one year and never again.
Right. Harlan versus Draco Anthony. So Harlan shows a little
harder than anyone, right?
Harlan shows a little bit more variety than he has and kills Anthony in under 3 minutes, slamming Anthony's head into the mat and hitting. It's like a suplex slam, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but I've seen it before. But it starts as a suplex, kind of ends in a uranagi kind of deal. Harlan picks Anthony up and hugs him.
Wait, does he have him up in like a suplex and then he flips him around?
Kind of, yeah.
Because I think I've seen Hiroki Goto do that.
So just a squash match, but Harlan showed a couple new moves. He had like a pretty nice looking splash to the back that looked good. And he looks aggressive and vicious. They're just sort of easing him into this, it feels like. So it was fine. Mackenzie's backstage with Mello, Hayes, and Trick Williams. Trick says every match Hayes is in is the main event. Hayes says Dunn is one of the greatest until he walked into here. Dunn has never been the A champion and never will be. Mello is making history and leading the way. And the question won't be who's next for Mello, but who's left for Mello. Isn't that what Jade Cargill said? Isn't that directly what she said? Right.
Yes.
I think these two are a really solid act at this point, especially relative to what else is on this show. I almost always find them entertaining. And Briggs and Jensen must watch these segments and just hate their lives because they can write stuff for people if they really want to. And Briggs and Jensen are stuck being like 10-year-olds basically. But anyways, Ivy Niles training, punching stuff. When Tatum Paxley interrupts to take the blame for their loss last week, Niall just keeps on training but talks along the way, says that if Tatum wants to be part of Diamond Mine, she'll learn the hard way. This was super short. I thought Niall sounded fine, and I guess there's a bit of suspense as to whether Paxley will be in Diamond Mine or not. I can't say I care a whole bunch, but they're trying. Give them points for trying. So back to the Dusty Cup. Amazing. Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade. You saw some of this. This was something.
I saw a clip of it before.
Feroz and Leon, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I'm just gonna say Chingona Bomb or whatever it's called, and an assisted splash by Jade.
That was so stupid.
That looked really weak, I thought, for the win. I think my theory is these four tried to do too much in a short time that they were given. It did not work well. A very short and sloppy 4-minute match, much like the other women's tag match tonight. So Feroz and Leon have really good energy, but they seem to be like going too fast for their own good, kind of like Red Velvet does, right? Where I see potential, but slow down, right? And hit your stuff clean because things start to look sloppy. And I've heard people say that Jade's good and shows a ton of potential. I haven't seen it, man. She's had one match that I thought was pretty good. And everything else, I just see rough spots in her work at this point. And she's super young, so whatever, and it's developmental. So that being said, I don't think she looks good.
She's not.
And poor Raquel Gonzalez, right? From title matches with Io Shirai to nonsense like this in the span of a few months. That sucks. Matches like this can't be helping Gonzalez development, right? Because she's still not like an established veteran. She's still probably like at the end of her developmental career, I would say. And I don't know how this is helping her. But anyways, back to, I would consider this NXT, again, what do I call it?
Junior
NXT
high.
Junior High. Because Saray is showing off her necklace to a bunch of women who are just gathered around looking at her necklace. Tiffany Stratton walks up. Stratton thinks
it's not designer.
Right. Basically, the necklace is tacky. Offers Saray one of hers instead. Saray says no thank you. And Stratton is upset and slams Saray into the garage door behind them. That's dumb. Walks off.
That's so stupid.
So adult women will now feud over a necklace probably.
Whoa. It was multiple necklaces.
I'm hoping we get the I stole your property and now you have to beat me to get it back.
They should steal each other's necklaces.
WWE loves that, right? So anyways.
Right, Tiffany Stratton offered one, so they should steal each other's necklaces and then have a double necklace on a pole match.
Right.
2 poles, opposite sides.
So the women gathered around Saray checking out the necklace reminds me of like little kids if you were back in like early elementary school and you took a really cool Pokemon to school and everyone's like gathered around looking at your
or if you like if you're in a cast maybe or something
right,
like that.
And everyone's, oh wow, that's really cool. Charizard, that's the character I was going for. Like you got a really cool Charizard what were the fancy ones again?
EX.
They're Charizard EX, and everyone's gathered around. That's what this felt like to me. So children, school children. Anyways, Tony D'Angelo talks about the smell of opportunity in the air for WrestleMania weekend, while everyone's jockeying for position, but he zigs when everyone else zags. He has his eye on a big fish, and he'll become a made man when his opponent sleeps with the fishes. Ugh. So this was really back to leaning into the stereotypical Italian mobster thing.
Awesome.
Which he seemed to have been doing less of a bit lately, so I enjoyed. So this was back to full cartoon mode, which I was not a fan of. Andre Chase versus Von Wagner, your boy, Von Wagner.
My favorite guy.
What looks like a plant. There's an attractive blonde woman in the crowd basically posing, and I guarantee we're coming back to this, because this, no offense, wrestling fans, I'm one too. This was not a person you see in the wild at a wrestling show. This was clearly somebody who's involved with something, and I guess we'll get more of it, because I don't think she was there for other matches either. But anyways, Chase starts off quickly for a little bit. Wagner obviously takes over with his power, because Wagner is big. So he dominates with punches, throws, and slams before a rest hold. Chase then attacks Wagner's leg, gets one last flurry before Stone gets involved on the outside. Wagner misses Chase and takes out Hayward with a punch. Back in the ring, Chase gets hit with the fireman's carry neckbreaker, and Wagner wins in 4 minutes.
Oh, like top dollar.
Wasn't a squash, but it was a basic dominant win for Wagner, who continues to be just a generic big man for me. I don't think he's terrible.
I think he sucks.
Think like less talented Jack Swagger. All the charisma of Swagger, or lack thereof, and less ability, right? And his matches are just kind of there for me. Nikita Lyons.
Sucks.
Yeah, okay. Possibly. Nikita Lyons cuts a promo on Last Legend. Boy, is that setting up a feud we all need.
Match the year contender, of course.
She heard what Lash said and suggests lashing out returns so they can sort their business out.
Yes.
No, bad idea.
Definitely.
But it keeps her out of the ring, so.
I think I have to see how bad that's going to be.
I did not think this was good. She didn't sound comfortable here, especially compared to the recorded vignettes that had played for weeks. So far, Nikita Lyons is a big disappointment for me. Main event time. Let's get through this.
That would imply you expected something good. So
well, the vignettes kind of made her look tough when she was doing the MMA stuff, and now she, like, in ring, not so much. Carmelo Hayes with Trick Williams taking on Pete Dunne in the main event. Melo, his thing is he wears T-shirts of his opponents, so he has
I did say if Pete Dunne won, I would
come
watch
back.
Again.
You're not coming back.
No.
So he's wearing a Pete Dunne T-shirt with an X through Dunne's picture. Dunne gets the advantage off the lockup, and he's going after Melo's arm right away. We get some rope running by both men. A clothesline by Hayes gives him the advantage. Dunne returns the favor and adds a kick to Hayes' spine after his clothesline. Series of double clotheslines now. Both men are down. We get an X-Plex by Dunne heading into a commercial that I don't get picture-in-picture up here. Melo blocks a German suplex, counters with a single leg crab. Dunne pays attention to Trick on the outside for a moment. Melo uses the opportunity to hit a slingshot DDT to Dunne on the apron that looked pretty good. Hayes keeps the advantage for a while before Dunne fires up after some strikes, hits a forearm to Melo as Melo is going for that springboard clothesline he does, so he gets caught with a nice forearm. Hayes flips out of another X-Plex attempt, counters with a lung blower for a near fall that was a nice sequence. We get a nice looking bitter end, but unfortunately Dunne does not have the energy to make the cover right away, so Melo rolls away to safety.
It was so dumb because like as he started reaching, that's when Melo rolled. Like it was so like timed.
Right. Oh yeah, you were watching this, weren't you?
Well, I saw a bit at least. Like, I don't know how much it did, but I definitely did, yeah.
Trick gets involved. Both men are up top. Dunne sort of snaps Trick's fingers to send him away, but that distraction is just enough for Melo to shove Pete Dunne off the top rope, hit his top rope leg drop to the back of Dunne's head, and he picks up the win here in this main event match. After the match, Hayes says he's a gold mine, and he's taking his talents to stand and deliver in Dallas. He'll defend the title in a ladder match. So I think this match was good. It was the story of two pretty evenly matched wrestlers having a really good back and forth match. I know the A-Champ thing is just a gimmick, but at this point, I would rather watch a Melo match than a Breaker match. To me, it kind of is. This is the workers kind of division right now, which I like. I prefers Melo style in the ring. He seems to face opponents I would rather watch as well. I really enjoyed this match, and Carmelo Hayes really impresses me. But I fear that his lack of size, right, that he's not going to be taken seriously when he gets to main roster, but we can hope for the best, I guess, for him. But yeah, really good main event. This show seems to be the formulaic of NXT right now, which is solid opener, good main event, bunch of garbage in between. Opening match was fine, main event was good. Other matches, weak Dusty Cup matches, Wagner squash, Harlan squash, underwhelming kind of Walter win, and a forgettable Lash legend Amari Miller. Juvenile segments.
I don't think you'll forget
ever.
it.
Juvenile segments with Briggs and Jensen, Tiffany Stratton and Saray, and the cartoonish stereotypes for D'Angelo are back. So this continues to feel a lot longer than a 2-hour show when I watch it every week. Like, I struggle. I battle through it. This was a C- show, so it's still not good, folks. You don't need to watch it if you're not. If you're relying on me to recap it, just keep doing that. Do you want to do a preview, or do you want me to blast through Impact first?
You can do that if you want.
Okay. Impact. Eddie Edwards and Macklin had a good opening match, but it ended in an Edwards DQ after he attacked Macklin with a kendo stick.
I was going to say, I don't really think either of them are losing yet.
No, and that's what I was wondering too, like who's going to lose.
Interesting.
So Edwards as a heel and Macklin as a face is a real change from a few weeks ago, but they worked well together. I'm a big fan of Macklin. Anna No More and some Impact mid-carders have words. It leads to a solid but unspectacular Heath Vincent match that started so slowly that commentary even had to mention that it was slow. It got better as it went on, to be honest. Heath got Heath a win ahead of facing Moose, which I think is a ridiculous title match, but whatever. Heath, quote-unquote, pinned Moose after the match with, I forget, somebody making a count, so I guess they're trying to show it's possible that Heath could pin Moose. I doubt it. Masha Slamovich, she squashed another jobber, looked really impressive doing so. Slamovich is really cool and has been made to look like a beast so far on Impact. She's now 5-0, and I think she should continue to get this monster treatment as far as I'm concerned. She is one of the things that really interests me, as I feel like Impact's Knockouts division, they're starting to sort of restock it, and it's kind of getting a little bit more interesting to me. GOD's really mad at Jay White for turning on them, and Violent by Design want a business arrangement with GOD since they hate the Good Brothers too. Sure, fine. The battle over Caleb, who for this match had to stay on a spot that they taped on the floor for him, continued as Cassie Lee beat Madison Rayne despite interference of Tenille in a 4-minute match after Caleb caught Jesse McKay to distract everyone before the finish. This feud is basically two of the same team fighting over a valet, and the match was just okay. But I will say,
why did
Cassie Lee's finisher.
Why did the Inspiration want Caleb?
They're just they like him. They bought him a cell phone, and they sort of want. I don't know if they're just want to take him away from whatever the other team's name is, the Influence. I get confused because these are basically the same teams feuding, so it gets confusing. But they want Caleb.
They were friends with Tenille.
Who?
Inspiration.
I don't know. Probably because they're
Remember,
Australian.
Weren't they friendly?
Because Australia.
No, but also NXT.
Oh, when they came. Oh, yeah. I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. Jake Something is done with having potential. He's ready to break out. He's the best he's ever been, and at Sacrifice he'll beat Trey. Thought it was a good promo, and I hope they continue to push him. I would have no problem if he beats Trey. Trey doesn't do much for me, and I think Jake Something's someone they could focus on more.
Christopher Bay.
Tasha Steelz beat Chelsea Green with a frog splash with Mickie James on commentary. James was asked by Green not to get involved, so she didn't, but of course Savannah Evans did to help Steelz win. The match was solid.
So Tasha Steelz and Mickie James again?
I think so, yes.
That's kind of lame.
The match was solid, seems to continue the Steelz' #1 contender story, while Green, I think the main story is going to be about her continuing to fall short of the title picture that she wants so badly to be a part of. I feel like that's going to be the bigger story coming up.
Maybe then she unleashes the hot mess?
Maybe. Cardona is healing it up backstage, forcing people to watch highlights.
Back goes to Cardona.
Of his matches, right, because she could turn heel with him. Cardona feels that he gets no respect and Impact, so he'll go elsewhere to defend his digital media championship. So it sounds like that's going to be like kind of the traveling title that he can defend in other companies or in indie shows.
Why not bring the NWA title to Impact and have a legitimate title instead of that one?
I think I don't know. He's going to defend that one elsewhere anyways.
Toy belt.
Jonah squashed Johnny Swinger in less than a minute, and the aftermath, which was Jonah taking it to PCO. PCO took the tsunami and then sat up after it, and then he clotheslined Jonah to the floor, and Jonah sort of left. So
That's
it seems
kind of dumb.
Seems to set up a Jonah PCO match that doesn't. I just
it
don't.
Was already announced.
I don't need 50 whatever year old PCO anymore. I just don't. Like, no, not to be an ageist like you, but he is old.
How dare you?
And I'm not a big fan of him at this point. But anyways, and PCO kind of came off like a face here, which is strange too. After he's been part of a group of invaders, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It still is kind of, right?
Yes. Yeah. Giselle Shaw interrupts a Deonna Purrazzo interview to say that Deonna is taking Shaw's scraps since she already beat Lady Frost. I was confused by this a bit. Lady Frost shows up and she got a match made against Shaw for Sacrifice. So I'm not sure why Peraza was included here.
This has to be like the lowest pay-per-view card I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that's not a big match.
Or like pay-per-view, but you know what I mean. So premium live event.
I think Peraza's not facing either of these two, but she's going to defend in her Champ Open Challenge.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see Shaw because she kind of impressed me in her first match, so I'm interested to see her. And Lady Frost is pretty decent as well. Anyways, 8-man tag team main event. To no one's surprise, Violent by Design continued their trend of talking tough and never winning, as Jay White hit a Blade Runner to Diener onto a chair for the win. So this one broke down right away. Security came to reestablish order before the match officially started. D'Amore comes out, makes the match no DQ. Pretty standard group brawl, garbage cans and lids, chairs and doors involved. Some real sloppiness at the end of this between Bay and Doring, as there's a door set up in the corner, and Bay was supposed to counter something. He kind of botched it. Doring didn't really go through the door. It looked awkward. It did not look good. The crowd seemed to get into this match, but it's not my preferred type of just a standard kind of plunder match. Overall, I thought the show was decent. It was easier to watch than NXT, so it'll get a higher mark than that. No matches stood out. I'd say the opener with a DQ finish was my favorite match. So that's not a ringing endorsement. I gave the show a C+ this week in my Turbo review of Impact Wrestling. Done.
Turbo.
Okay. So let's talk preview.
All
Make
right,
some predictions.
Revolution 2022.
Yes.
So talk buy-in first. Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander. I went with Layla Hirsch because I think she's got more to gain from this. I don't think Statlander will be affected, win or lose. I think Statlander's already beaten Hirsch too, so...
I'll take Statlander because I think that they're looking to elevate her at this point. I wish it was Hirsch.
I think it should be Hirsch.
And just to make it different, I'll take Statlander.
Maybe Team Taz come in and...
That's what I want, right? Layla Hirsch on Team Taz. But anyways, I'll take Statlander.
Hook, QT Marshall. I took Hook as if it's QT.
Hook. 100% Hook. In what will be a very quick, dominant win, as it should be.
It's funny, pre-show... biggest spotlight for Hook so far, maybe.
Yeah, it is because he's exclusive to Rampage.
Exclusive,
That's right.
Matt Hardy, Andrade El Idolo, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting, turning a trios match. I took the baby faces because AHFO don't need to win. They're a bunch of losers.
They're not capable of winning.
I know Andrade is in there, but Hardy or Cassidy can take a fall, and Andrade just doesn't fit there. I don't think this
and Andrade
match
gets mad and leaves them.
There's no real stakes in this match, right?
No.
So I feel like it's like one of those matches where you get a big babyface win.
Agreed.
And they probably won't have Sting lose yet, and it's been a year of him wrestling. That is sad. And the fact that I just said they probably won't have him lose is also soul killing.
Yeah, I can't see HFO winning anything ever, basically. So.
Well, AHFO, okay.
Sorry. I just don't want him as part of it anymore. So I'll take the baby faces as well.
Well, then it would just be the HFO. That would, you gotta have the A.
You do.
Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston. I took Kingston because he never really wins or needs to. Like, he lost to Punk last time, but I think every now and then they could give him a bigger win. Jericho has been more interesting as a heel, I think, lately, but he really doesn't need a win. Like, he'll be fine. And I think this would help Kingston a bit. Just like, he doesn't always need to take a loss, you know what I mean? Then maybe he could actually win the big one.
Right.
Finally get some payoff, because I don't think this feud needs to last more than one match. So I feel like you get the payoff with Kingston.
Wow, I'm torn on this one.
I was a little torn, but I figured Kingston is...
It's a tough call, because when you say Kingston never wins, that is kind of true.
Right, and it's not like Jericho can win and then they go again. Like, I don't think they need to go again, you know what I mean?
I'll take Jericho, just to spice things up, because I really don't know, and I could see them extending this story.
I really don't want them to. I don't think they need to either.
And I could see them going, see, you can't win the big one, and maybe through shenanigans and cheating, right? So I'll take Jericho. I'll talk myself into it.
Cargill, Conti, TBS title. Cargill, because Conti will make a good TBS champion one day, I think, but that day is not Revolution.
Cargill, they're still Goldberging her, right? So
yes.
I'm not sure that she's delivered in that role, but I also think
that's what they're doing.
They're not ready to give up yet. Yep.
So the Face Revolution ladder match, which is Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, and Christian Cage. So I actually kind of debated this one for a rare instance here. There's not much I'm debating here. It's clearly one of two choices. It's Keith Lee or Wardlow. On one hand, I think Keith Lee's the new guy in town. You could really use a big win here. Maybe even beat Guevara for the TNT title, because I think he'd be a fantastic mid-card champion. On the other hand, I think MJF has been touting Wardlow for this longer before the qualifiers began. Remember, they were kind of like subliminally hinting at that sometimes. And if he wins, it serves more storyline benefits. It couldn't bring his issues with MJF to a head, but I'm not sure why he needs a TNT title shot, right? So like I feel like
Agree.
like what's he gonna do with the title shot? So I feel like I'm gonna take Keith Lee because I think he can actually do something with the title shot, and then maybe something in the match like plays into the Wardlow storyline. Like
that's what I was
like
gonna
the
say.
match kind of furthers the storyline rather than Wardlow winning. Something that's necessary. Also, Guevara Scorpio Sky next week for the title.
Nice.
So.
I'll take Keith Lee as well because I also think maybe MJF somehow costs Wardlow or something, and it's sort of we're baby stepping towards that even closer.
Yeah, or
right?
like something like that. That's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah,
I'll take Keith Lee as well. I think he's like it'd be. I guess you could find a way. I was gonna say it's tough to not have him win when you've touted him, but it's also a multi-person match. So, but I'll still take Keith Lee.
Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa for the women's world title. I took Baker. I think Rosa will eventually usurp Baker. This really doesn't feel like the right time though. The match hasn't gone the build that the blow-off match really deserves,
agree.
And it doesn't feel like it's time really. I think Baker deserves a little more. Rosa also pinned Baker in that tag match on Diamond, which makes me think she can take the fall here, and she will.
I agree with pretty much everything you said there. I just don't feel that the build has been there to justify the change.
The big blow-off match also justifies some sort of special stipulation.
And because AEW can do good builds, it's not just like, well, they never do anyways. So, but it's like they do tell good stories, and I feel they haven't. So exactly. I'll take Baker retains.
John Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. I took Mox because I think he could win, and if Bryan still wants the team, Mox can make his decision. Because I feel like if Bryan wins, I'm not sure where the storyline goes, but I feel like with Mox winning, then I don't know. I feel like that helps the storyline more.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of them needs to win, but I think if Mox wins, then like you kind of have like the option if he teams or not. You know.
This is a tough one.
And he can finally beat Danielson, you know what I mean? You know how he kind of never
has. I'll take Danielson just because of maybe...
Could go either way, so that's not...
And that could be... See, he could even be like, see, you have stuff you could learn from me too, so why don't you come work with me and that's I can get you to that next level kind of deal. I'll take Danielson just because Danielson.
CM Punk versus MJF dog collar match. I took MJF. I think they need to counteract WWE, not go 50-50 booking.
Agree.
And have MJF win strong here, call it a day. He deserves another big win over Punk to keep him on track to the title eventually. Punk can definitely take the loss, and the build has been great. I think MJF can win here. I think he might have to put over Wardlow, so that might be like where it kind of balances out for him.
Yeah, it could be.
And then they can heat him back up for the title eventually, because I don't think losing to Wardlow is a huge setback, and this would be a good win for him.
Yeah, I take MJF as well. I just think, I don't know, that just makes more sense to me. And I think Punk's at that point where he's willing to do that. I don't think
there's any way where Punk needs to win.
And get away from the even Steven idea. Like, you can have the same person win multiple matches against the same person. It's okay. That happens in life. Which they should have done with
Malachi Black, but they did not.
It happens in life. So, yeah, I'll take MJF.
Redragon versus the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express for the tag titles. So I think it could go either way between Champs and Redragon. Either way, the Bucks aren't winning, that's for sure. I think Jurassic Express haven't had a great run because I think the Phoenix injury forced the switch. I really think they're just like,
a contingency plan.
Yeah, they got like, off of based on circumstances or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
their hands were forced to give. Yeah.
I think this may be like where they transition the titles off because I think they were maybe just accidental transitional champions. But also, I think Red Dragon and the Bucks seem like they have their own thing going on, which doesn't need the tag titles. But I'm gonna.
But it would add a little bit, right?
It would add a bit for sure. So I'm taking Red Dragon because I think they would make better champions. I think it gets Undisputed Era some gold and also adds to the storyline bit. And I just like Red Dragon.
I'm taking Red Dragon too because I don't think it'll be the Bucks yet. And I think that is the story they're focusing on, right? There's really no story going on with Jurassic Express, so
other than like Jungle Boy got thrown onto snow.
Right. So I think that Red Dragon having the championship belts just adds more motivation and fuel to that story. So I think it's Red Dragon as well.
Then we come to our main event, Adam versus Adam for the world title. I took Hangman. Cole's great. I love him so much. He's one of my favorites.
It just doesn't make sense yet, right?
It just doesn't make sense for sure.
I agree.
Hangman deserves a good run. I think he really should drop it to MJF. I'm looking forward to this. Two of my favorites in AEW for sure, and favorites period right now. Yep. Should be great, but it's just not the right time for Cole, and I don't like to bet against him, but it's just a safe bet.
I agree. I think it's set up for Paige to retain and have a bit more of a run, right? They're still building this guy as a face of the company. He's had really great matches. Promos are starting to pick up, so I think it's still Hangman's
Cole can
time.
Survive without a title and maybe go in the trios titles too.
Right, and AEW sort of they do the longer title runs, right?
Exactly.
So
I think people are saying like not everyone has to do that, but I think Hangman deserves it.
I think he's somebody that they want to elevate.
I mean,
right?
yes,
So,
that's what they've been doing with the world title, but A, like it makes it more prestigious, and B, like I don't know, when it doesn't happen, then it'll be more surprising. Or like, and I think you have to kind of go on a case to case basis. I think Mox made sense. I think Omega definitely made sense more than anyone. I think Hangman deserves a long run. Doesn't have to be a full year run, but
I don't think it's done yet.
I think should go through at least half of this year,
agree.
so maybe in the summer.
Yep,
it depends.
Yep, depends who they build. Like I agree with you. I think you're building MJF to take this and just be a crazy heel champion for a while.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, fair enough. So I agree with that one as well. We got a few different picks, right? So it'll be interesting. We'll get back. I'm pretty sure we'll review that. I would imagine, right?
I think it's a pretty stacked card. I mean, there is a few matches too many. I definitely think. Like, I think
it's going to be lengthy.
You could take out the I don't know. I'm not thrilled about the trios match, but at least that's kind of like a big tornado thing for a pay-per-view. I feel like you could, if you pluck the TBS title match out and Jericho Kingston stick down on Dynamite, make Dynamite more interesting, and thin out the pay-per-view card.
It's going to be a long night, I feel like.
Generally it's pretty stacked. Like, I'm really excited for Mox Danielson.
Me too.
The main event, which will be the world title match.
I think the tag team triple threat will be fun.
I think the tag triple threat, that might be my most anticipated, actually. I'm just, for whatever reason, I think the three-way tag will be really interesting.
Show stealer could be.
Yeah, it's weird because I love Cole and Hangman, but I think the tag time match, I mean, the dog collar match should be pretty good too. They're good.
A lot of good stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's we check. Keep your eyes peeled, as my mom would say, for a review of that. Hopefully, we can get around to it on Monday or Tuesday night. Come down here and talk about it. But that's gonna wrap up any other wrestling business and lead to our final segment, which we actually have some stuff this week.
Some stuff, yeah.
Right? Is it a beefy segment this
week? A
little bit. Okay. And that is going to be Jack updating us on the world of wrestling action figures in Figuring It Out with Jack.
Yeah, so they're doing a FanFest Revolution, so there's a bunch of stuff. I'm going to just go down, like, in the post, most recently shown to least recently shown.
Okay, makes sense.
So there's this, I'm not sure if it's a 3-pack or 3 separate figures, but they're doing Unrivaled. It's like Unrivaled X Street Fighter. So it's 3 figures. I'm not sure if all together or not, but it's the Street Fighter Gear Elite from way back. I think it was at Fighter Fest they might have worn it, or it was in Street Fighter inspired. So it's like it's Ryu and someone else. Like, so you have Matt Jackson, like the white with the red headband, and then you have Nick Jackson in the red with the black headband, and then you have Omega in his same gear from Double or Nothing 2019, just with red hair and the symbol painted on his back. And then you also have Wrestling Buddy for Omega. The head scans are not great.
What is Wrestling Buddy? What?
The Wrestling Buddies.
Oh, sorry. Like the pillow things that I had of Macho Man as a kid. Nice.
So those are kind of cool. I do like those, and they're GameStop exclusives, so that's actually possible for us now.
Oh, right.
So that's pretty cool. A lot of the head scans here aren't looking great, but I've heard like these prototype ones are hand painted, so I'm hoping these are just like preliminary ones, as they say. So next we have some reveals for the Supreme line, which is like their answer to the Ultimate Edition line that WWE does, except better, I think.
Yeah.
So, because it'll be kind of reverse, so it's kind of weird. But so we have Supreme Series 2 Malachi Black.
Nice.
So it's really nice. So basically, I think it's same as the Unrivaled figures. It is like Unrivaled Supreme collection. So it's Unrivaled Supreme. Except they have those butterfly joints on the shoulders and marks. So he's got quite a few heads, and so he's got
that's an odd sentence to say.
Yeah. So he's got one head where it's kind of smiling, like, and you know when he had the early paint where it's just kind of like eyeshadow on the one side, so it's kind of like that. Then you got one straight face and then one grimacing face where he's got black and white paint, so a little more paint to those heads. And then I'm not sure if they're 2 separate heads entirely or just masks, but he has 2 different masks. He has like that skull looking one. You know, like the bone looking one.
Yes, I do.
And he's got like this.
I like that.
He's got this gray skull one with like all this like blue like moss
gray skull
looking stuff.
Like He-Man.
It's like a gray skull, and then he's got like these giant horns coming out. So
By
2 different
power
masks.
Of gray skull.
I'm not sure if they're different heads entirely, but he's got 2 masks, at least 3 interchangeable heads, maybe 5. And then he's got his entrance cloak thing, and like maybe a vest. I don't know. There's like a lot of entrance gear you get, and you get 2 different ring attires with these figures. So it's really cool. You get trunks for Black, and then you get like the shorts he wore a couple times with the red design on it. So you get 2 different ones, and I think he's got like cloth knee pads on, which is kind of interesting. So that one looks really nice. I really like that. I'm definitely gonna get that because I think that's a really cool one. And my favorite reveal they've done was Unrivaled Supreme Series 2 Kenny Omega. It's so awesome. So he comes with interchangeable heads and AEW mic, AEW title. And so the first ring attire you get 2 ring attires again. And Omega's ring of gear is just awesome.
You love it.
It's so awesome. So the first gear is like the black and gray one that he wore at Full Gear when he lost to Hangman. And then the other one is this this other one, I forget what it's, I think they're saying it's from, someone says it's from Demon Slayer, but it's like, you know where he had like the weird patterns with the dragon ones, like this blue and white one. It's like, you remember that phase you went through where he was wearing like the gear with like these weird patterns.
Oh yeah.
You knew they were inspired by something.
Yes.
You didn't know what.
Anime
so
or something.
Yeah, it was
generally.
like a blue and white one.
Right.
It looks so nice. I really like it. And then you get like an entrance code too. So you get 2 different ring gears, and I like that they're pretty different in concept too. So
you would love that.
So it's pretty nice. And then you get 4 head sculpts. I really like this because what they've done is they've done 2 blonde hair sculpts for Omega with the beard. One's kind of mouth open, one's kind of like Grimace. And then you get 2 different head sculpts with the handlebar mustache and the black and blue hair. So you get like both different looks of Omega, which I think is cool. And it kind of works out for like the black, the mustache ones go with the one attire, and then the blonde ones go with the Demon Slayer attire, but you could like mix match. So I like you get kind of both looks of Omega. It's really like, it feels like a really complete figure. I think it's really nice. I'm totally getting that. Like it just looks awesome. And there's Supreme Series 1. You get a Britt Baker, which is I think is in the Britsburg gear with like the white and gold. I think that's really nice. She's got a straight face, kind of like, you know, when she does the smirk face. And then you also get like a smiling face, and you get like the glove hand and whatnot. You get the women's title. I'm not sure if it's an update one. And then you also get a Britsburg t-shirt and then promo pants. So her ultimate gear is a promo gear, so it's kind of cool, which I think is a good way to do her promo gear.
We do like the white and gold generally in this household.
That's a great color palette, of course, always.
It is.
Then there's Cody Supreme 1, which is kind of ironic because he's on his way out, or he is out. So last Cody, not like he hasn't had enough. So the first gear was like, it's like this American looking one. I can't remember. I think I want to say he debuted against a Go-Go, but like, hold on, I'll try to show you. But it's this one. Remember that?
Yes.
He either debuted against a Go-Go or against Malachi Black.
Go-Go. Where's that guy?
I don't know. He's got like a smiling one, a kind of a smirking one, and then a screaming one. And then his alternate gear is like this half gold, half red tights, and you also get a cloth shirt and the entrance jacket from that. And of course, the weight belt too. Those are 2 nice ring gears. I would actually probably get that too. I'd like these. It's really cool. Then you get Unrivaled Series 11 Darby Allin, already to 11 series of the first series, so that's pretty cool.
Moving quick. They must be selling that, or else they wouldn't keep doing it.
We have Unrivaled 11 Darby Allin, so it's in like these green pants. They're baggier than his normal pants. It's not like the skin tight pants, and it's like the half Sting, half Darby paint.
I remember that.
So I want to say this is from the Street Fight, just based on the gear. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. That's pretty cool. Unrivaled 11 Penelope Ford in like a purple and black gear, so that's pretty nice.
Oh wow, she got a figure.
And then
oh yeah, you were so excited. You saw this as we were getting ready to record.
Unrivaled Series 11 Kip Sabian. We did it, baby.
You'll be the only one to buy one. They probably made one just for you.
We did it. Yeah.
So they are listening to us because they made a Kip Sabian figure, and they're doing the interchangeable legs.
Yes,
which you
they
also
are listening.
called for.
Exactly.
They listen. They know.
We did it, guys.
We did it. Congratulations.
We did it, everyone. I'm sure everyone else also wanted.
Feels as strongly as you about these things.
Got Unrivaled 11 Jungle Boy in like kind of a purplish gear, which I think is kind of, because I don't remember him wearing purple, so that's kind of interesting. There's no Luchasaurus, which I think is kind of odd. There's Chris Jericho and like the, oh my god, what do you think this look? I'm trying to like, it's like a fumigator or like something like that, like a mechanic
like
or something.
Coveralls, yeah.
Or like a plumber.
Yeah.
Like
it's just coveralls.
Plumber look. So it's Jericho and like, I think it's from Blood and Guts that they wore that, right?
Looks like nails.
And like,
almost.
And
it's just
black.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Jericho and I think the Blood and Guts gear.
Right.
So yeah, that's gonna be a theme. We have Adam Cole in his black and white gear, so already in Adam Cole, like, until they are on it. Like they revealed the first Punk pretty quick too. Like we're only getting images of it today, but like they came out with it pretty quick. We have the white and purple Wardlow, which I believe is also from Blood and Guts, so that's pretty cool. I like the all white gear. Always. We have Taz, which I showed you and that was just kind of odd. Yeah, it's like, and it's not like it's a Luminaries collection Taz like the Corazon de Leon Jericho. It's current Taz, so that is there. Then we have a red and gold Miro, which I think looks really nice. It's got like, it's the one, remember when he had the TNT title on his shorts?
Where's he been, by the way?
I have no idea.
I just realized
he just faded since the tournament.
Right.
Yeah, but it's the gear when he had the TNT title on the shorts. That's pretty nice. I think that one looks really nice. We have Andrade El Idolo in the world's greatest ring attire.
The baseball pants.
Yes.
You love those. The pinstripe pants.
Yeah. And he comes with the skull mask. I'm not sure if it's an alternate head entirely or just a mask, but it does come with that. We have Jake Hager in the blood and guts gear, the coveralls again. We have a black and red Baker Unrivaled 10. These are all Unrivaled figures so far. I'm not listening to the series, my bad. We have Unmatched Series 7. So we have just the lineup, no images for this yet. But so we have CM Punk. So that'll be interesting, another CM Punk. I'm hoping it's like either the camo trunks or the red trunks, like, something different. We have Thunder Rosa, which is pretty nice. She's already getting 2 figures, which I'll talk about later on. And we have the entire Death Triangle in the series, which I think is pretty interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I'm telling you, they're on it quick because they're already Hook is in the series.
Yeah,
already Hook. So that's kind of cool.
People want Hook.
And so then Unmatched Series 6, so we'll get another Brody Lee. So that's cool. They're still bringing him in.
Awesome.
Ruby Soho. Proud and Powerful again. Love to see them again. Another Malachi Black, so that'll be pretty cool.
Nice.
And then an Owen Hart figure.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Cool.
Luminaries Collection Owen Hart. So
that will be a collector's item.
That is pretty cool.
For sure.
Next we have equally exciting Unmatched Series 5 Sean Spears.
Okay.
And the Blood and Guts gear, the white and purple, so that's pretty nice. And I think there's an upcoming FTR figure, so maybe they'll get the white gear too. That'll be pretty nice. There's that LJN Darby, which got delayed from Unmatched Series 3, so it's Unmatched Series 5 now. Unmatched Series 5 Bryan Danielson. Already getting Bryan Danielson, so that's pretty nice. I'm definitely going to get that. I think that'll be really nice. We have new wrestling buddies. There's going to be MJF, Pentagon, John Moxley, Sting, Punk, Phoenix, and Jericho, so that's pretty cool. Then I showed you, they revealed this 2-pack, which I think is ringside exclusive. It's an AEW Unmatched ringside exclusive. So you get, I'm pretty sure it's a re-release of the Unmatched Series 2 Brody Lee, the black and gray, except you get the white coat this time, and you also get a -1 figure, so it's a memoriam set for Brody Lee, and you also get the Teen Titans. Really cool thing for them to do. So I think that's really cool. I don't know, that's just really cool. And then there's just more images for stuff, because so far it's just been rendered, so there's some other stuff. Oh yeah, so there's the images for Unrivaled Series 9, so like they had actual like demo figures up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, in like the case at the Fan Fest, they had like physical figures in like cases. So there's Unrivaled 9 Thunder Rosa in like a black and brown gear, and then her Chase variant is a blue gear. I think it's funny. Her normal variant has face paint on the left side, and then the Chase variant has face paint on the right side.
Cool.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good idea.
So then we have Unrivaled 9 Ricky Starks in like a blue gear, so that's pretty nice. And I told you his Chase variant is the one he was mocking Darby Allin. So he's got Darby Allin paint on the right side.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's not something you need to release in the main line, but that'll be like a collector's thing, right? So that's kind of cool. Then there's, speaking of Team Taz, there's also Powerhouse Hobbs in the series. His debut figure, that's pretty nice. Eddie Kingston, which I'll show you because it's one of those ones that I think the initial head looks shaky.
Not great. It looks like Ricochet to me.
Right. I'm thinking like it'll like once you get the real one,
it'll be better.
Yeah. And then Christian, that sucks. And Brian Cage, so that's really cool. I'm happy Brian Cage is getting a figure. It's like half black, half white with yellow highlights. So that's pretty nice actually.
Cool.
Then I told you first, so on match 4, there's promo gear Hangman and promo gear Cody, which I think is kind of interesting. Just solely promo gear, so interesting approach. Gold and black Jade Cargill. The white gear for MJF, so he's getting the white gear treatment as well. The Corazon de Leon Jericho. The Luminaries collection. And then CM Punk for Unmatched Series 4, which is going to be, the normal one will be the long tights, and the Chase variant is the trunks. Of course, the better one is the one that I'm not going to get. So that is so nice of them.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were wrapping up.
Because I want Trunks Punk, and they're not going to let me get it. I think that is pretty much it.
Well, that is it. All right. Good. That's nice because there was a couple of weeks where there was nothing, right? So this week we got a lot to make up for it.
A lot of cool stuff too. I think that Supreme line definitely has some good potential. I love the interchangeable ring gear.
Yes, you do. You've been calling for that forever.
I just want WWE to do that with Seth Rollins. Because I love his ring gears.
Well, that was a pretty lengthy episode. We did pretty good. It's not. I thought we were going to push 3 hours. We're at almost 240 right now, so pretty lengthy.
Almost.
Appreciate anyone that made it through this much and listened right to the end. We love that about you. If you'd like to contact us, I haven't put it out there in forever. fnswrestling@gmail.com. FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram, or leave a YouTube comment if you like. We'd love to hear from anybody about anything. Your thoughts on the world of wrestling, how we're doing, any thoughts you have on anything, feel free.
Any oddly specific insults?
You can definitely get a reply from me or Jack or both, so we'd love to hear from anybody. But again, we'll probably be putting out a review of the AEW pay-per-view. What is it, Revolution? I keep forgetting names.
Indeed it is.
So I imagine we'll come down here Monday or Tuesday to talk about that. So keep an eye out for that. Wherever you're listening to this, you'll also find that probably in the next couple of days. And other than that, we'll definitely be back next Saturday for episode 86. So thanks again for joining us. We hope to see you back here next Saturday for another episode. And until then, take care.